Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome back to #AskGSM, episode 598 here today for Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. I hope you guys are doing well and having an awesome week so far. Thank you so much for joining live or watching after the fact. I very much appreciate it. While you're here, be sure to thumbs up the video, like the video, subscribe while you're at it as well if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification button to be notified every single time we upload new content here on the channel and every single time we go live, including Tuesdays and Thursdays primarily for this show and WrestleRant Radio. If you want to consider signing up for a WrestleRant All Access Pass, such as Daniel Malcolm, I know he signed up for an All Access Pass. You can see in the chat there that he is celebrating 1 month as a channel member. You can do so by clicking the link down below. There's a join button on the videos if you watch on PC, I believe. In the description box, there is also a link to become a channel member. You get a little badge next to your name, unlock exclusive emojis for the live chats here on these videos. You get members-only live streams, early and ad-free access to certain videos such as WrestleRant Radio excerpts, Dark Side of the Ring reviews, and so much more. You also get shout-outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel. And that includes Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve1 on the IG at Swerve1, W-O-N. Daniel Malcolm mentioned him a moment ago. He's I'm Quarter on X, letter I, letter M, Quarter on X. RJ Marceau, of course, who I know is joining us here today, at RJ_Marceau on the Twitter machine. John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland here on YouTube. Check out his channel, check out his content. He does great work. Richie's channel as well, Red Planet Wrestling here on YouTube. And finally, last but not least, Average Grunt, at The Average Grunt on X. Follow him on over there. So only $5 a month unlocks all of those perks and so much more. Check that out. And the WrestleRant All Access Pass, I should say, membership option down below. And last but not least, if you want to send in a question to this very show, while we're live, you could drop it in the chat. I'll get to it momentarily in between all the other questions and whatnot. But if you want to send in your question ahead of time, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So shout out to Fernando, who said Buenos Dias, WrestleRant. Buenos Dias to you as well, Fernando. E2, how was your day going? Daniel Malcolm, as I mentioned a moment ago, a member for 1 month. Thank you, Daniel. Member for 1 month. He said, "You're." Shout out to Daniel. Thank you for joining us as always. Johnny, what's going on, my man? He said, maybe Bayley should turn heel with the little fucking, I don't know how you describe that emoji, with the little eyeglass thing. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Bayley. She become boring. That was the obviously the headline question for this video. Thought that was a good question to headline with, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Johnny also said, do you have a favorite Sabu match or feud? Ripped to the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac. You know, I don't know if I have a favorite Sabu match, just because I didn't grow up on ECW, even like the original ECW, not even like the WWE ECW version. When I started watching wrestling, WWE, whatever, it would have been 2008. So that would have been about a year after he left the company and was released from WWE. So I did see him a bit in TNA, but obviously by that point he was past his prime. You could make the argument he was probably past this prime even in like when he arrived in WWE a few years earlier, or even in the late, early 2000s, whatever. But if I had to name one, probably the Rey Mysterio match. I haven't seen these matches more than just a handful of times, just from watching the old One Night Stand pay-per-views. The matches that stand out for me are his WWE matches. I know he had a handful of, obviously, a lot of classic matches in the original ECW, none of which I have an attachment to call my favorite. But if I had to say my favorite Sabu match that comes to mind, probably, I would think, probably that Rey Mysterio match, like I said, One Night Stand 2006. There's also the John Cena match from that same year, Vengeance 2006. But that Rey Mysterio match, despite the dumb finish where they both end in like a fucking draw or whatever, or no contest, beyond that, I think that's probably my favorite Sabu match that comes to mind. Alexis is also joining us. Obviously, Ahmad says, congrats, Dan. He is a Member for a month. Congrats. Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate that. Mr. Marceau is joining us, and he says, Bayley has been a terrible face. Like I said, we'll get into it. Maria said, hello, everyone. Maria, what's going on? Thank you for joining us as always. Maria also said, if Bayley comes off as boring, it's because of creative. It's always mostly because of creative. Interesting point. We'll get into it. Nick is also joining us. Nick, I spoke to you a little bit earlier on today. Nick, what's going on? Yes, they are texting back and forth right now. I'll look at the text when I'm done here. But Nick, thank you for joining us here in the chat. Great to see you. He said, gang, hello. Nathaniel said, hi, do you think Becky beats Lyra in a rematch, Graham? Nathaniel, first of all, thank you for joining us as always. Second of all, do I think she beats Lyra in a rematch? I do. I thought she would honestly win at Backlash. I was pleasantly surprised that she did not win that match at Backlash. Lyra was put over. Becky still got her revenge afterward by attacking Lyra. Lyra was not on the show last night. I don't know if that was a creative decision or if it was because, they just want to hold off until she comes back, or because she was actually hurt. Because I saw her selling her nose during the pay-per-view while Lyra was in the armbar. While she was in the armbar, she was actually holding her nose. So she actually might have broken her nose. So I do think she will win the belt, only to put over Lyra in the end. That's kind of my prediction for the feud, and I think that's where they're going with it. And they had a great match on Saturday, Saturday, not Sunday. And I'm looking forward to seeing, where they go from here. It's been a great feud so far, and it's only been a month. Fernando said, Rip Sabu, one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Yeah, Rip Sabu indeed. Just got done talking about him, obviously. Nathaniel said, I don't know when Bayley returns. Maybe on the sooner side. I know Becky lost to Lyra at Backlash, but you could have Bayley return soon and then do Becky and Bayley and then hold off on the Becky-Lyra rematch for a couple of weeks after that. So there's a couple different directions they can go in. They could wait even longer. I think Bayley will be back on the sooner side because, again, it's not like she's actually hurt. It's just a creative decision to keep her out. And she was also just attacked backstage. Why the fuck would she be out for like 3 months? I know Jade was out for 3 months with a backstage attack, but Jade was put through a windshield. That was a lot worse. Bayley was just simply attacked from behind, seemingly, at WrestleMania. So I would think that she'll probably be back on the sooner side. RJ said B plus Bayley. We just got done having this conversation on WrestleRant Radio a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to let that one slide, Mr. Marceau. Nathaniel said we might see Cena versus R-Truth. Not only do I think we might see it, I think we will see it at Saturday night's main event. The two rumored matches for that show, one of which has already been confirmed, that being Logan Paul and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena versus R-Truth, which was rumored actually earlier on in the day before Backlash. And then we saw movement towards that during the pay-per-view when R-Truth helped John Cena retain the championship. And then he was also put through a table with an attitude adjustment during the press conference. So I think we're definitely getting that match on that show. And I think, honestly, I have no issue with it. Like, on paper, is Cena versus R-Truth a SummerSlam main event? No. And I will give credit to Micah, actually. Last week here on the show on Hashtag, Micah laid out this great, lengthy storyline, this great story that you could tell over the course of a couple of months with these two. There was no real issue with that. I actually very much enjoy the effort that he put into telling that story. I just don't know if you devote that much time to an R-Truth story with it being Cena's final year. Like, if this was any other year, then maybe. That was really my only issue with it. But it doesn't even matter anyway, because WWE burnt through that story, quote-unquote, in like the span of 2 fucking weeks. Cena encountered Truth on SmackDown 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And then a couple of weeks after that, he encountered Randy Orton. And then he was backstage again on SmackDown, helped Cena win up the pay-per-view, and then Cena attacked him after the pay-per-view at the press conference. So I'll read your thing in a second, Alexis. But yes, that's why I think they're probably going through it quickly, because it works. Honestly, even as a pay-per-view main event, I'm not sure exactly if I buy that, but as a TV special main event, I think it works very well. So I'm looking forward to Cena and Truth and how they tell that story. I think Cena's on SmackDown this Friday. So we'll see what he has to say. But I think as a Saturday night's main event match where Truth has no chance of winning, even like with the Pat McAfee and Gunther thing, I think if you tell a good enough story, it should lead to a very good match. And the crowd will be invested. Dillon, what's going on? He said, morning, Graham. First thing first, fuck The Rock. Honestly, before I go any further with what he said, we should probably have a tradition in every stream here that we do on the channel where we say, all hail Love Ziggler and fuck The Rock. And there's probably one other inside thing that we could throw out there. It's just not coming to mind right now. But yes, fuck The Rock and all hail Love Ziggler. But anyway, he said, I would say Bayley is a good heel, but her recent face run has been pretty trash. Also, her finisher sucks. Her finisher is not great. I think even the belly to Bayley was not a great finisher, but I think even that was more impactful than the Rose Plan. Fun fact, I think she was actually already using that move from her indie days before she started doing it in WWE. She's never really had great finishers. Honestly, her best finisher, quote unquote, would probably be the diving elbow, and she doesn't win matches with that. I think she won at WrestleMania 33 with that in Orlando back in 2017, but I don't think she's ever really used that as a consistent finisher. Johnny said we should do a watch along to ECW Barely Legal and Heatwave 98. You know, like I said previously, if you guys want to do more watch alongs here on the channel, let me know. Whether it be an ECW pay-per-view. To Sabu, he just passed, so I'll be nice. But I can't guarantee I'll be kind to the ECW shows specifically. I've rewatched some ECW shows, and I've actually reviewed them here for the channel. That was back when I was doing a lot of pay-per-view reviews and whatnot. I might go back to that at some point. It's been long enough. It was just watching a lot of content, and I just didn't really have the time for it anymore. But with the ECW pay-per-views, I just didn't really like them. I don't really have a lot of ECW product knowledge. It was nice to kind of relive that time in history. But at the same time, it was like a lot of these matches are just fucking garbage, like literally and figuratively. But if you guys wanted to do a watch-along of an old ECW pay-per-view, WCW show, a WWE pay-per-view, I did a watch-along this past week for channel members live, and then it went on VOD a little bit later on in the day of me watching Cody and AJ. I was going to do a couple of Backlash matches, but I only had time for one. So I rewatched Cody and AJ Styles from Backlash last year for the WWE title in Lyon, France, and it was a great match. So like I said, if you have any other suggestions, guys, for watch-alongs, whether it would probably be a members-only thing. Maybe, I'm not sure. And then we can make it public after the fact. But yeah, just a thought. Dillon also said maybe they do Becky Bayley at Money in the Bank. They could. They definitely could. Becky didn't really kind of focus on Lyra in her promo last night. She was just kind of addressing the audience. I thought it was a very good promo. Becky's great. I don't know if they're moving away from that for right now or if Becky enters the Women's Money in the Bank. That might have just been like a placeholder promo before she qualifies for Money in the Bank, and then maybe Lyra, returns there. I thought they might save Becky and Bayley for when Becky was the Women's Intercontinental Champion. So I don't know. We'll see. Maria said the Lyra IC Championship reign has been, what's that word? I don't know if that was a typo or what you meant by that word. But I've actually, the reign has been fine because it started out weak. She had some quality matches with Dakota Kai, Ivy Nile, Raquel, Bayley. The Bayley one was great. It's just that she wasn't really getting the storyline support, and she was kind of an afterthought on Raw. But really, since Mania, Lyra's reign has been great. She's been on the show a lot more, getting mic time, getting over that great match with Becky. Her reign went from like here to here in the span of a few weeks, largely in part to Becky Lynch in that feud. But Lyra is also very good in her own right. Johnny said, do you remember /like Cena versus R-Truth from Capital Punishment in 2011? I do. That pay-per-view, man, that was not a great show. But what I liked about that show had one of my favorite matches from that year, a very underrated match. It was right before the Summer of Punk. It was kind of what kicked off the Summer of Punk. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. They had a series of matches in 2010 that were great. But honestly, my favorite Punk and Rey Mysterio match was Capital Punishment 2011. But beyond that show had Cena and Truth, which was a fine main event, and then Cena won, I think, clean, and then that feud was over for as quickly as that feud started, it was over, which I did not really enjoy. But, yes, that did headline the show in 2011. That was how fucking dire the main event scene was in WWE in 2011, where it was headlined by Cena and R-Truth. And all due respect to R-Truth, had a very hot heel run that year, but that was not a pay-per-view worthy main event. That show also had Orton and Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship, if I remember correctly. And that match was good, but their other matches during that feud were much better. But yeah, I remember that show. I've actually reviewed that show here for the channel. Not at the time, because I actually started doing stuff on this channel like in August of 2011. So I didn't review that pay-per-view. I reviewed it on WrestleRant.com at the time, actually. That's how long I've been fucking doing this shit. But I went back and did a retrospective review of that show a few years after that. So again, maybe if we do a watch along of Capital Punishment here on the channel, maybe if you guys would be interested to see how fucking bad the 2011 product was, the WWE product was in 2011. That show was like the epitome of that shit. Nathaniel said, do you think Cena will turn face soon or in December? Probably sooner than December. I mean, I know some people said, oh, maybe he'll turn face, for his last match. I think he'll be a babyface before the last match. The thing is with the title reign, if he's champion until December, he's gonna be heel for the entire title reign. I don't think he turns face while champion. This whole last real champion thing, I think, works better when he's a heel. So I think he will turn face before that. I saw the seeds planted. It didn't air on the actual broadcast on Saturday, but I guess Cena was kind of like showing some seeds of doubt when he was walking away and the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Cena." And then Cena was kind of like, skeptical of it or whatever. So they're already planting those seeds. And, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how quickly they intend to do it. Alexis with the $5 super chat said earlier, hi, hello, I think you know why I'm crashing out right now. Yes, I'm very much aware. I see my phone going off. I don't know. I know exactly what's going on in the text right now. I know why you're crashing out in a good way. It's not a bad thing for everyone else who doesn't know. But yes, I'll tend to that after the fact. I learned about that this morning and I was like, yeah, I think Alexis is really going to like this. So, anyway, Fernando said Cena versus Truth has no business on a. I'm sorry. Fernando said Cena versus Truth has no business on a PLE. On a pay-per-view, I really don't mind, but it's not even a pay-per-view. It's a fucking TV special, Saturday Night's Main Event. So I'm fine with it. Maria said Cena should have done that Truth shortly after turning heel. Yeah, I mean, but they had the Orton thing first. The Orton thing, you had to do a backlash with that show being in St. Louis. Like, if you're saying as soon as Cena turned heel, it should have attacked R-Truth, I would have been fine with that, but they actually waited. They waited on purpose so they could do what they're doing right now, which I honestly kind of like. Maria also said, all hail Love Ziggler, fuck The Rock. Yeah, thank you, Maria. That should be like a regular chant, a regular ritual here on these streams. All hail Love Ziggler and fuck The Rock. Nathaniel asked, do you think Goldberg should cost Gunther the rematch with Jey Uso? Yeah, I think that's what happens, honestly. I think they're doing that match on Raw so they can close out that Raw. And I've seen a lot of people say, they're going to close out the show with a cash-in. Like Jey Uso retains and then Jey Uso gets cashed in on. That's the only reason why they're doing it after Money in the Bank. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I mean, it could be. It definitely could be. I'm just not confident that's the case just because... because people are saying, why not do it at Money in the Bank? Why not do it at the Raw in between Saturday Night's Main Event and Money in the Bank? Because they want to space out the title matches, I would think. They probably just wanted more build to a Gunther Jey Uso rematch as opposed to Jey beating Logan Paul and then facing Gunther 2 days later on Raw. And on Money in the Bank, why not do it on that pay-per-view? Probably because Cena's scheduled for that show in Los Angeles and they don't need, it would be fine, obviously. But they probably didn't think they needed 2 title matches on that show. I don't know if Cena faces Truth again or someone else. I'm not sure about that. But they're probably going to do Cena and Truth or whatever. They're going to do Cena versus someone at Money in the Bank, and then Jey faces Gunther on Raw. I do think Goldberg cost Gunther the match. I really, personally, do not want Jey Uso beating Gunther clean again. It was fine at Mania. I think having him lose twice to Gunther, not a big fan. Honestly, even Gunther losing at all, even if Goldberg costs Gunther, which I feel like is what's going to happen to set up the SummerSlam match, I'm not even a fan of that, honestly. I feel like Gunther should not be losing, maybe once a year. I know he lost twice last year, and he's already lost once this year at WrestleMania. I would not have him lose to Jey Uso twice. But what's the alternative? Gunther beating Jey to win back the belt, and he's not facing fucking Logan Paul. So that's probably best case scenario, and even that I don't love. Johnny asked or said, Shane Douglas loves the belly to Bayley finisher. Are you saying he loves her finisher, or does he do the move a lot? I don't get the joke or the reference. Carol22_ said, I feel like this upcoming feud with Becky will be the best thing Bayley has done since she returned in 2022. Maybe. It's very possible. The funny thing about that is that they actually already feuded. They actually feuded during that time period. When Bayley came back in 2022, she immediately feuded with Bianca first. And then Becky came back and they did that feud. Bayley lost almost every match that mattered, mind you. But they had a handful of matches, and they feuded all the way through WrestleMania, actually, that year. And the feud was good. I enjoyed the Becky Bayley feud. It was nice to have a non-title feud for a change. But I think this could be even better than that. I think with the roles reversed specifically, I think Becky is the heel and Bayley is the babyface. The feud could be even better. But we'll see. Johnny said the Rob Van Dam TV title matches were great and stood out in ECW. The RVD TV title matches in general or the RVD TV title matches against Sabu? But either way, I remember RVD was like a very long reigning TV champion in ECW, so that makes sense. Richie, what's going on, brother? He said, hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Richie, what's going on, my friend? Hope you are doing well, and thank you for joining us as always. Dillon said, I hope WWE pushes Lyra because her promos with Becky were really good, and she's also a great wrestler, so hopefully Triple H sees that. Also, we need Jeff Cobb versus Fatu versus Reed. Well, two things. One, I agree with the Lyra stuff, so hopefully Triple H does see that and pushes her accordingly. Second of all, I do agree, as we talked about previously, we do need Cobb, Fatu, and Reed in triple threat. I would need a new pair of pants. So if anyone wants to send me a new pair of pants, I'll just have to go out and buy some if I need to. I would need a new pair of pants for that match because that sounds fucking amazing. Richie said, Capital Punishment has an incredibly underrated set. Wish they'd go back to unique sets for PLEs. Yeah, that pay-per-view is not great at all. There was a reason why they only did one and done. You know what was actually also on that show that I totally forgot about? They had a fucking Barack Obama impersonator on that show. Not quite as bad as the Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama impersonators on the King of the Ring show for WWE that they did back in 2008. That was like that infamous segment with Umaga. They were just doing anything back in 2008. They just didn't give a fuck. But in 2011, they also did it at not the same impersonator, I don't think. But Obama was still president at that point, so they had an Obama impersonator. He was garbage. But yeah, the set was cool. And, I loved Backlash this weekend, but it kind of made me wish that we had unique pay-per-view sets again, like with the swinging hooks and shit like that. The funny thing is that Triple H has brought a lot of stuff back from when he was like in his prime in WWE, whether it be like specific title designs or even superstar. Like there's a lot of elements of the Triple H era that remind me of the time that he was on top in the early 2000s, because that's what he knew and that's probably what he was a fan of. The World Heavyweight Championship, the brand split sort of stuff, whatever. But one thing that was prevalent during his time on top was the pay-per-view sets, and they have way more money now than they did even back then. So I know it's probably a money waster because it doesn't really make them money, but they look fucking cool, and you know it's in their budget. Like, they have the money to do it. They just choose not to, which is fine. They'd rather fit as many people into those buildings as possible because the product is hot, and a bigger set requires less people in attendance. But I feel like once in a while you could do it for shows aside from just WrestleMania. That's just me. Johnny said, last week I didn't mean that we do the watch-along. Last week I didn't mean that we do the watch-along to Omega versus Okada feud in one live stream. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, you said that, because you mentioned last week the Omega Okada feud like in one live stream. I'd be fucking dead. If we watched all the matches in one stream, we'd be dead. But yeah, over the course of a couple different live streams, watching one Okada Omega match per one, that could work. Nathaniel said, I heard Cena's last match will probably be in Boston at the TD Garden. I heard that as well. Not that it was outright confirmed, but it seems pretty likely, probably for a Saturday night's main event. But I've also heard rumors of like a Ruthless Aggression pay-per-view in December. I mean, anything can happen, but I do think he will wrestle his final match in December, and I do think that it will be in Boston. Kind of has to be. Grunt said, oh, shoot, I was sick yesterday and forgot to send in my questions, so I guess I'll post them here. Sounds good. Yeah, if you have any questions, Grunt, be sure to send them in here. Hope you're doing better. Hopefully you're not too sick and obviously healthy enough to join us here today, but hope you're doing well. Micah said, yo, guys, hit that like button. You heard the man. You heard Micah. Like the button. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up button. Micah, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Nathaniel said, I think we'll see Cena versus CM Punk at some point for the champ. We fucking have to. If we don't see Cena versus CM Punk for the title at some point this year, then what are we even doing? What was even the point of turning John Cena heel if we don't get Cena versus CM Punk at some point this year? I totally agree. Johnny, to clarify from earlier, he said, Shane Douglas's finisher was also the belly-to-belly suplex. Oh, I did not know that. I didn't see him win too many matches during the in the matches that I've seen of his in like WWE and sometimes in ECW. I haven't seen enough of his matches to know that, but the more you know. Nathaniel said, Graham, did you like Christian's ECW championship reign? I did. I did actually. I actually thought he was a great ECW champion. I mean, again, that was at the very end of WWE ECW, so there was nothing extreme about it, aside from the occasional WWE watered down, like, street fight or Extreme Rules match or whatever. But Christian, honestly, across his 2 reigns as ECW champion from, like, '09 through early 2010 when the show closed, and he lost it in the final episode of ECW to fucking Ezekiel Jackson, which I thought was cool because I liked Ezekiel Jackson. Aside from that, he had a very good run, 2 different runs. He won the match he won the title in a very good match that I actually really much enjoy. And I forgot to put this in my WrestleRant ranks video last week. A very underrated backlash match. Christian and Swagger for the ECW championship. That was where Christian won the championship in 2009. And then he had a couple matches with Tommy Dreamer that were good. He had some great TV matches with Zack Ryder, Shelton Benjamin. I think that was a TLC. Zack Ryder was on TV. I think Yoshitatsu he had a match with on TV for the title. William Regal. You can tell I was religiously watching WWE television even at that point that I remember all of this. I think he had a match with, I don't remember. I thought it was like Kane or something. Maybe he had a couple he had a lot of title defenses, did Christian. He had like a number of matches with Regal. Maybe Vladimir Kozlov. I feel like he may have faced Kozlov at some point for the belt. Maybe not. I think he faced Jackson. I think it's Survivor Series, or it was at the Rumble. They had a match at the Rumble and he beat him. But yeah, Christian was I thought he was a very good ECW champion. Had a lot of good matches. Millennial Noob said, hello, Graham. How you doing today? I'm doing well, Millennial Noob. Hope you're doing well as well. Thank you for joining us, as always. Fernando said, long live Love Ziggler and also fuck The Rock. I agree. We got to get a fuck The Rock emoji. Maybe I'll try to add an emoji for channel members. A fuck The Rock. We have a Love Ziggler emoji. Richie put it in the chat there. I see that. But we got to get a rock emoji with a middle finger or some shit. Or put a rock emoji and then you can also put a middle finger. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I will definitely add that for channel members. Nathaniel said, also, I don't think Becky should hold the IC championship for the whole year. I don't think she would. I don't think she will. I think she'd only hold it a lot like the NXT Women's Championship run. It would probably be short-lived before eventually losing it back to Lyra or whoever. I don't think she'd be champion for that long. I mean, Becky, when she won the Women's World Championship last year, people were freaking out. I had no issue with it. People were, oh, how the fuck did Becky win the belt? She's not putting over new talent, blah, 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 Becky Hogan. Brother, she was only champion for a fucking month. Not even, maybe 5 weeks. Because she lost it immediately to Liv Morgan, which meant a lot more for Liv to beat Becky for it than it would have for Liv to win a fucking Battle Royal on Raw. Johnny said, Cena should keep saying, I know you can't see me, but you can hear me. Cut the damn mic. Yeah, that is a good line. I don't know if he said that at Backlash. He said something along those lines, but that is a good line, though. Maria said, them president impersonators were stupid and has nothing to do with wrestling. Yeah, they were pretty fucking dumb. That was the epitome of the Vince regime, though, towards the end. And like I said, Richie with all the Love Ziggler emojis. Love to see it. Micah said, thoughts on GTA 6's trailer? Have you ever played GTA 5? So I did see the new trailer. It looks awesome. The graphics look great. If they need more time for it, it seems a little fishy, but listen. I'm not a GTA fan, but for people that have waited, they have waited already 12 years. You could wait a 13th year. I think it's okay. If it means making the game better, as opposed to shipping it out, I mean, I say early, but the game's been in the fucking works for a dozen years now. But if it means making the game better, then I think that's cool. I really don't have a say in the matter because I don't play the games. I'm not going to buy the game. I'm not going to play the game. Have I played GTA 5? Yes, actually, I have. I've played GTA a couple times. I played it recently because Dillon and Alexis actually own the game, or I think one of them owns the game. I don't know. I definitely tried it a couple times. When Dillon owned it, the last game, I maybe tried that 3-4 years ago. And then when Alexis got her Xbox from Dillon, actually, she had me try it. And I drove around in the fucking car. That was probably a year or two ago. So yes, I have played GTA 5. I actually tried GTA for the only other time I think I would have played GTA before that. My brother owned it, but I never played it with him, I don't think. The only other time, aside from playing with Alexis and Dillon, that I would have played that game legitimately might have been 2005. I don't know what game that would have been. I don't know what GTA game that would have been. 2, 3. I think it was San Andreas. I feel like I played the San Andreas game. But I have this vivid memory of when I was the summer of me going into 5th grade. I was at a birthday party at a kid's house. We were in his basement playing video games and we were playing GTA. We were all incredibly too young to be playing a game like that, but his parents either didn't know or didn't give a fuck. And we were all playing the game and I thought it was a blast. I don't think my mom ever found out about that. She probably wouldn't have been too happy, but I thought it was a fun time. And I remember that because it was that same day for that birthday party where you actually went to go see Fantastic Four. Not the recent one from 10 years ago. I'm not that fucking young. But the one from 20 years ago. They've actually come out with a Fantastic Four movie every 10 years for the last 2 decades, which is kind of interesting. They've rebooted it every 10 years. But the original one with fucking Chris Evans as the flame guy, as Johnny Rocket. I forgot. I mean, I got to brush up on my Fantastic Four knowledge. But anyway, the same day I saw that movie, I think I saw Silver Surfer with my friends as well. But I would have been in 7th grade, and it would have been that weird to be playing the game. But I remember playing it when I was going into 5th grade. So yes, I've played it a few times. It's an addicting game, almost too addicting for someone like me that probably I just don't have the time to play a lot of video games. But the game is good though. All the games were good from the ones that I played. Fernando said Lyra is a made woman now. I don't know about made woman, but she's pretty close. That win did help her out a lot at the pay-per-view for sure. Richie said, speaking of GTA 6, wonder if we'll get Tyreek back in the chat for good before the game comes out. Seriously, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, I feel like we are gonna get GTA 6 before we ever find out what Love Ziggler means. And the only person who has the answer to that question is Tyreek. Nathaniel said, I wish Edge was still in WWE because face Edge versus heel Cena would have been great. That would have been cool. I mean, the match itself may not have been great. I mean, they're both a lot older now, but I mean, as one last, nostalgia feud, a lot like what we saw with Orton and Cena, that would have been cool for sure. Richie said, Lyra and Becky stole the show for me at Backlash. Cena versus Orton was close. I was sports entertained, me too. And I agree with Fernando. He says, I'm surprised Becky took the L. Yeah, I totally agree. I thought all those matches were great. Cena and Orton was very fun. I actually, you know what? I said it going into that show, and I'm going to say it coming out of that show. I love the fuck out of Pat McAfee and Gunther. I know a lot of you guys did not, and people were shitting on it. And again, that's your opinion. Totally fine. For what that match was supposed to be, I thought that was a blast. Might have been my favorite match from the show. The best match from the show was the women's match. But the main event was a lot of fun. The opener was great. Penta and Dominic was a good match. I very much enjoyed Backlash. Johnny said, TNA and AEW treated Christian Belair better as a solo star. They did. Christian has had a better run in AEW than he did in WWE for how many years was he back for? 5? Only 5 years? Wait a second. He came back to the company in 2009. Yeah, 5 years. And honestly, he missed a lot of that time due to injury too. He got hurt a lot. But yeah, AEW, he's been in AEW now for over 4 years, and he's been hurt during some of that period as well. But he's been a bigger attraction in AEW than he ever was in WWE. Same thing with TNA. Let's see. Dillon said, only problem with the Cena versus Orton match at Backlash was that there was way too many finishers. Yeah, listen, it was completely ridiculous. It was Richie even said himself, it felt like a 2K25 simulation. Totally. It was fucking ridiculous, but I enjoyed it. It was stupid, but I like stupid sometimes. Sometimes wrestling can be dumb, and it can be fun. And that was an example of that. When they do it for every fucking match, then I have an issue. But once in a while, it was totally nonsensical. Like, even the Mania 40 match was just riddled with interference. But I enjoyed it because it was a lot of fucking fun. Nathaniel said, imagine if The Rock showed up during Cena versus Punk. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put it past him. The guy doesn't show up when we want him to, but he shows up when we don't want him to. Fuck The Rock. Maria says, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but can we get Cena and have fresh matches with young talent? Why does everyone want Cena having retread matches like versus Randy Orton and Punk? I don't get it. You can have both. That's the beautiful thing. Cena is around long enough where you can do both. The R-Truth one I could see people having an issue with. I get that. But Orton is one of the, I talked about it yesterday, cheap plug, but yesterday in WrestleRant Ranks, I did a massive tier list, like a 40-minute plus video, 40-plus minute video on Cena's best and worst rivals. And you might be surprised where I put Randy Orton. Let's just say that much. But Orton is one of Cena's most prolific opponents ever. They have never done that feud with the roles reversed, and they were in Orton's hometown. How the fuck do you not do that match? And it was a fun match, in my opinion, too. The Punk match, again, Cena and Punk is one of the greatest feuds in WWE history. How, again, if you have Punk in the fold now, do you not do that match? For fresh matches, I agree, Maria. Cody and Cena was a fresh match. I mean, we've seen it before, years and years ago. It was not great at WrestleMania, although they probably should run it back to redeem themselves and so Cody can win. But I'm okay with fresh matches. Again, I don't know how many people want to see Cena and Jey Uso, but that would be... They probably had... I mean, I don't know if they ever had a one-on-one match, but he's like worked with the Usos in tag matches and against the Usos in tag matches and shit. But that would be a somewhat fresh match. I mean, there's a lot of fresh faces you can have him work with an LA Knight from SmackDown if you wanted to. I doubt it. But someone like him, you can go across the Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. I don't know if those matches happen on a pay-per-view or on TV, but those are fresh matches. So, yeah, I think you can have both. The year is long enough where you could do both. Richie said, Rock showing up during a Punk match would send me into a fit of rage. Yeah, this man just continues to overshadow Punk. Every fucking time. Grunt said, top 5 AEW produced theme songs? ? No cheating by picking licensed theme songs like Carry On by Wayward Son, or Carry On Wayward Son, or The Final Countdown. That's a good question. Top 5 AEW produced theme songs? I mean, I'm definitely going to miss some. But if we're not picking licensed songs like Orange Cassidy or CM Punk Cult of Personality, I loved Jon Moxley's original AEW theme. I know he's had I think now he uses his New Japan theme. He also used Wild Thing and shit, which actually grew on me. But his original AEW theme I thought was excellent. I thought that was a great theme that they should bring back. I like that song a lot. I really, really liked because he's still around, but Dustin Rhodes' theme song. I think Dustin Rhodes has a great theme. Lance Archer, I think, was already using that song. The Everybody Dies song. I don't think that's an AEW produced song. I think that's a Lance Archer song. I'd have to really think. I guess let me look at the roster real quick. And obviously people have left and whatnot. But let's see. Let me go look at the AEW roster. That is a good... I mean, AEW does have some good themes. Adam Page. I mean, actually, I don't know if that's not an AEW produced theme, so I don't really know if you can count that. Adam Cole's is great. That is definitely an AEW theme. Adam Page, he was already, it wasn't made by the people who... It wasn't made by the guy who does the AEW themes. That was made separately. But the Adam Page song is great. I'm looking through their roster of a million fucking people. Kenny Omega's song I also love, but I don't think that's an AEW produced song. I think that was made separately. Keith Lee's is good. Who's Keith Lee? I know, question mark. But Christian Cage's is good, but again, that was his TNA theme, so that's not exactly his. Darby Allin, I think, isn't that a song, or is that an AEW theme song? I don't remember. But Darby's is great. I think Darby's is, I think that's an actual song. But Darby's would be high up on that list. Eddie Kingston's is great. I think that's an AEW produced song. I would go with his. Jay Lethal's would be an honorable mention. I like Powerhouse Hobbs's. I'm looking at the current roster. I'm not kind of going over. I mean, obviously Cody's was great, but Cody, he already had that song. I'm going through the roster real quick. And again, these are only people that are currently there. I'm not even thinking of people who left. MJF, but that's not he already had that song in MLW. That's not an AEW produced song. Let's see. That might be it. I'm sure there's others, but I like Soraya's song, but her now ex-boyfriend made that song. The Zombie song or whatever. Zombified. I like that one, but that wasn't an AEW song. I like the fact they use a lot of licensed music, though. They have good songs on their own. But the ones they do have are good. I'm looking at their women's roster. They have a lot of fucking women on their roster, man. I don't know if any of the women's songs. I like Hikaru Shida's, actually. Her most recent theme was actually really good. Jamie Hayter's I like. Those two songs are good. Those are probably the main women's ones. Yeah, I guess those are my main AEW songs for the most part. I like Willow's. Willow's fits her very well. I think Willow already had that song, though, from her time in Ring of Honor, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, moving on here. Let's see. Nathaniel said, I'm hearing that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man might be in Avengers Doomsday. I mean, he could. Anyone could pop up, I suppose. I'm not expecting it. I think they kind of told that story perfectly and ended it perfectly in No Way Home, but if Toby was in that movie, yeah, I'd fucking pop. That'd be cool. Yeah, Richie said that would have been San Andreas, the GTA game that I played back in back in 2005. That's prime GTA age. Oh, when I played it, fucking when I was like 12 years old, I guess so. Fernando asked, did I enjoy Raw last night? I did. I thought Raw was good. I thought last week was better, but I thought last night's Raw was very wrestling heavy. I thought it was good. It wasn't great. I breezed by it pretty quickly watching it after the fact. I didn't watch it live, but I thought it was good. Nathaniel said, I hope the old Fantastic Four guys with Chris Evans' crew shows up in the Avengers films. Again, I don't really think they need to. I think like the only person I think that would get a real pop, to use a wrestling term, would be Chris Evans as Johnny Flame or whatever. Flame on. But he already did that in Deadpool and Wolverine. So it's like, what's the point of doing it again? I mean, it would be cool. I'm not like complaining, but I'm just saying like we already kind of got that big pop and that was really fun. And I honestly was not expecting that at all. But we kind of already got the pop, so I don't really think that happens. I think the one Fantastic Four group is enough. Maria said Tyreek is scared. Yeah, Tyreek might be scared of Alexis. Anytime she shows up, he's not here. Anytime he's here, she's not here. So I'm starting to also think Tyreek might be Alexis's burner, but I'm not sure. That's just a conspiracy theory. Johnny said, I'm becoming a big fan of Mortal Kombat as a young kid. Yeah, I never really played the Mortal Kombat games. I know I didn't see the movie either, but I know that has a big fan following. Richie said, I was sports entertained with Pat McAfee versus Gunther, and I'm one of the few people who probably enjoyed it more than Gunther versus Jay. I don't know if that's true, Richie. I think a lot of people might have enjoyed that match more. I know I didn't. I thought Gunther and Jay was very good. I enjoyed Gunther and Jay. I thought it was very good for what it was supposed to be and the story they told. I think I enjoyed Pat and Gunther more. Alexis saw both matches. She doesn't watch a lot of fucking matches. She really doesn't pay attention. She's typically on her phone or something. But she did watch Gunther and Jake as we were there at Mania. And two, she did watch Gunther and Pat, and I think she might have enjoyed that match more. So I don't know if she's still here and listening, but you'd have to ask her. I think that match, I'm not saying she speaks for everyone, but I'm just saying I think that more than just us enjoyed Gunther and Pat more than Gunther and Jay. And both matches were good for different reasons. Dillon said, to me, GTA 6 is just GTA 5 with a new coat of paint because you're not getting GTA for the story mode, you're getting it for online. There you go. I mean, Dillon is the GTA expert, so he would know more about that than I do. Johnny said, Braun Breaker and Dominic are my two options to beat John Cena in his last match. Braun Breaker, yes. Dominic, absolutely fucking not. That would be just stupid. I like Dominic. Dominic's getting over. Is he a future world champion? He could be. To beat John Cena, I'm sorry, that would just be stupid. It's got to be like a Cody Rhodes or a Braun Breaker or someone else of that ilk. Dominic's not quite there yet. To do a match on like TV between Cena and Dominic or even on pay-per-view, maybe. But like for Cena's last match, probably not. Especially to beat him, definitely not. Maria said Cena versus LA Knight should be next after Saturday night's main event. I think that'd be great. I just don't know how we get there because I think Knight still might be feuding with the fucking Timu bloodline. And Jeff Cobb and Solo and Jacob Fatu. Unless he moves on. I want fucking LA Knight to win Money in the Bank. At this point, that's not going to happen. But I want him to win Money in the Bank. Especially with it being in LA. I mean, come the fuck on. That would be awesome. I don't see that happening. But that would be cool at some point to get Cena in LA Knight. Do you want to see Cena versus AJ Styles one more time? Johnny asked. I do. I talked about this yesterday in my John Cena's Rivals Ranked video, but AJ Styles is one of Cena's greatest rivals of all time. They had amazing matches, and I want to see them run it back. They have amazing chemistry. Richie said CEO. Yeah, that would not be among my favorite AEW themes. CEO. I mean, the theme honestly isn't bad, but like the fake chanting in the middle of it, I'm not a big fan. Johnny said, it also reminds me too much of Gunther's song. Johnny said, the Marina and Willow feud still going. Hopefully they have a blow-off hardcore match at Double or Nothing. I don't care about Marina Shafir. I really don't. I like Willow, but Marina is like watching fucking grass grow. She's just not interesting at all. Nathaniel said, I wonder if Adam Copeland will eventually change his theme, maybe if he turns heel at some point. Maybe. I don't even know if we're going to get a heel edge at this point, honestly. Like, I think he tried that in WWE in the way that he's talked about it, including with me in interviews. He makes it sound like, okay, we tried it. People just don't want to boo me at this point because they just love me too much. And not to be like egotistical on his end, but like it's true. He's at a point in his career where people don't want to boo him knowing he's retiring soon. And then he came back and he wasn't even supposed to be back from injury. You know what I mean? So if it didn't work in WWE, I don't think it would work in AEW. And he tried changing his theme song in WWE, and I thought that was awesome, and I fucking love that song that they used. The Other Side by the same band, Alter Bridge, that they used for Judgment Day for a long time up until recently. Great song. But yeah, I just don't see that happening. Richie asked, do I mean Bearcat? When I mentioned Keith Lee. I'll never forget about that. If you YouTube, for those that forgot or didn't remember or whatever, have never seen it, go look up Keith Lee. You would have to know who Keith Lee is, obviously. If you don't know who Keith Lee is, this wouldn't even matter. But to see him in his NXT days and compare that to the Bearcat shit where he was on Raw literally going, roar, or whatever the fuck it was, that was just atrocious. Oh, yeah. Nathaniel said I like Swerve Strickland's theme. Swerve's theme is great. That would be top 5 as well. I forgot that was I think that's an AEW produced theme. Forgot about that one. Carol asked, what are your thoughts on WWE running Saturday night's main event and Evolution the same weekend as All In? I think it's fucking dumb. And not only just from a selfish standpoint of that's a lot of wrestling for me to watch, brother, and it's just too much, but from the standpoint of WWE trying to fuck with AEW. And they've done this before. But, like, it's not even, like, the same. It is the same weekend. It's not at the same time. Because I think All In would be Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday night's main event, which I think was already scheduled, to be honest with you, which is also dumb. I mean, they scheduled that a while ago. That was the rumor a while ago. Saturday night's main event would be that night. But Evolution being that Sunday, being that same weekend. And again, I agree with what other people have said. Where if the show doesn't do well, they're just going to blame it on the women. They're not going to say, oh, yeah, it didn't do well because an AEW pay-per-view is also that weekend. You know, whatever. Give Evolution its own weekend. Let's stop, like, it's fucking garbage. I mean, it's bad enough that it took them this long to do Evolution 2. They're never going to do one again. If it doesn't do well, like either attendance-wise or buy rate-wise, which it's on fucking Netflix and Peacock, so I guess that doesn't count. But they're going to blame it on the women. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, there's just no interest. No, it's because you did 2 other wrestling shows that same fucking weekend. Like, no shit, people aren't going to watch 3 massive shows in the same. I mean, they will. I mean, wrestling, I will, because I'm covering it and whatnot, and I want to watch them. But a lot of people won't. A lot of people won't. So I'm not a fan. I think it's stupid that WWE would do that. I know, oh, yeah, they were going to. I mean, I'm fucking pissed, too, because they were originally rumoring it for that July 5th date at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. I love Mohegan Sun. I'm in Connecticut. That would have been amazing to go to Evolution. And the rumor was this time, the report was that they can't do it there on that date because Mohegan Sun already has something booked. Well, if you fucking booked it 3 months ago, then maybe you wouldn't have that issue. Grunt said, oh, damn, maybe expand it to theme songs and maybe made specifically for them, not including big licensed songs. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there you go. I definitely should have asked that instead. Whoops. Still a good question, though. Maria said, I know Rhea is super over, but I'm sick of her being given title matches. How is anyone else in the Raw women's division going to get over if she's going to be hogging up the same spot forever? I mean, listen, Rhea is a big enough star to where she should always be in the mix at the top of the card. Should she always be in the World Championship chase? No, she shouldn't be. I agree with that. And at some point, they have to move her out of that spot. Now, they have to find her other rivals to work with, someone like a Julia or a Roxanne or whoever, like a Becky if they run that back or whatever. That is okay. They could do any of those feuds and not have it be over the championship. So they're telling the story now that she was fucked over out of the champion. I mean, it was her own fault why she lost it back in March. But at Mania, she wasn't pinned. So I get the story they're telling, but yes, there will come a point where you can't always give her the Charlotte treatment where she's constantly in the picture. I mean, the funny thing is, people said that about Bianca for the longest time. And then they took Bianca out of the title picture, which they should have. They put her in the tag team division. And then it was like, well, Bianca should be in the title picture. I mean, yeah, and it got to a point where it's not people were complaining, but it's like, okay, she's been in the tag division long enough. It's time to move on. Rhea could benefit from the same thing. Don't put her in the tag team division, but you can have her, go off and do other shit, non-title feuds. What a fucking concept. And then she can return to the title picture down the road. Nathaniel said, I cried tears of joy when Toby and Andrew Spider-Man came back in No Way Home. I wouldn't mind if they showed up in Secret Wars as variants. Yeah, I mean, those returns in No Way Home, man. listen, when we saw that movie a few years ago, of the many movies that I've seen, and Marvel usually is at the top of the list as far as like experiences for best movie experiences. Not even just Marvel, but anything. Number one is easily No Way Home. We saw that movie. My brother went to school he went to college in Long Island. So it worked out where he was coming. I don't think he was coming home that weekend, actually, but he wanted to see it with me. So we visited Long Island to see that movie, Alexis and I and a few other people. And the hype for that movie was already unreal. We avoided spoilers. We saw it on a Friday night at like fucking 8, 9 o'clock or whatever in Long Island. Bought the funny thing, this actually has to do with Richie, who's here. We were talking about it actually. I think I was at Richie's place, him and his wife, for a Friendsgiving thing they were doing. And I remember we were talking that day about, oh yeah, No Way Home comes out in a month. You got to buy tickets ahead of time. Tickets went on sale like that fucking night. So I got back. I left their place early enough to where I could get home to buy tickets. And I bought all the tickets that night. And I was like waiting in queue for like a fucking hour. It was ridiculous. I had never experienced anything quite like that before, aside from Endgame. Endgame was similar as far as I had to buy tickets a month in advance. But yeah, it was unreal. And the crowd was unbelievable. People were cheering everything. They popped for literally almost fucking everything. And there were people dressed up as Spider-Man. Someone yelled as soon as the movie was over. Like as soon as the movie ended, massive round of applause, and someone screamed, "I'm horny." And then there was another post-credit scene with the Venom thing, which obviously ended up amounting to nothing. But then people screamed, the same guy screamed, "Hey guys, I'm horny again." It's just that experience specifically will forever be etched in my brain. It was fucking incredible. Just incredible. I don't know if that will ever be topped. Johnny said Chris Evans can get another pop saying Avengers Assemble. He could. He would get another pop for saying it, but what if it was someone else instead? Alexis said, me posing as Tyreek would be an amazing prank, but I'm not that smart. LOL. Well, there you go. Despite my 3.9 GPA, I'm not that smart. And she also heard me bury her for being on her phone. Again, no lies detected. She's typically on TikTok or whatever. And again, her way of processing things is not that she's always on her phone. She has to be on her phone to watch things. But, I mean, you don't really... The thing is, you can't really watch the entire match or a movie or a show if you're looking... If you can hear it going on, sure. But you're physically not watching... If you're not watching the screen the entire time, you're going to miss facial expressions, things that don't require sound, little movements, anything. I mean, I understand that that's how some people work, but... You'll never get the complete experience unless you're watching the screen for the entire scene or match or whatever it might be. Obviously, you look away or fucking blank, but like if you're on your phone while doing it, you will not appreciate or enjoy the match as much. Being there, watching from home, it doesn't matter. But that's just, that's how she processes things, and that's totally okay. Richie said, my wife does the same thing and it drives me bananas. And whenever I try showing her stuff, LOL. There you go. I mean, again, it's not, first of all, unless you're a fucking diehard mark like we are, Richie, and, it's tough for some people to process things unless they're on their phone. I don't know. It's, just how it works. I mean, it's attention spans. I get it. It is what it is. Backing up a little bit. Alexis said, I enjoyed Gunther and Pat a ton. It was awesome. There you go. She loved that match. I mean, I know that because we watched it together, but just as proof to let you guys know it was an awesome match and she very much enjoyed it. Do you think Cena should win his final match? Graham, Nathaniel asked me. I don't think he needs to. He could. I don't really care, honestly, at this point. He should probably lose the belt before that. But if he's champion for his final match, then he should lose easily. But if he's not champion for his final match, then I can see him winning. They're in Boston. It depends on who he faces. I don't know. It could really go either way. I agree, Richie. I think Love Ziggler will win the briefcase. I agree with you. Yes, Johnny, I did say Temu Bloodline. I mean, what we're getting right now with Fatu and Sikoa and Cobb is awesome. It's not the original Bloodline. It never will be the original Bloodline. It's just not the same thing. Storyline-wise, talent-wise, it's just not the same thing. So, yes, they are the Temu Bloodline. They will forever be the Temu Bloodline until they break up for good. Nathaniel said, maybe Solo beats Jacob for the championship. He could. I could see it. They should probably feud soon, though. They've been teasing tension for the longest time. Maria said Rhea has been hogging the title picture for too long now. How is anyone else? I already kind of answered that question earlier. Grunt said, so can we talk about how goofy it is that every Islander is getting sucked into the bloodline vortex, even when they're not related or even Samoan? The main reason why I don't want Samoa Joe to go back. All right, a couple things. I agree with you. It is kind of like the Tongans being involved makes sense because they're not bloodline related to like the Usos and Roman and shit. But like The Rock considers Haku family. Like that one made sense with Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. And Jacob Fatu is obviously family. Jeff Cobb is not related by any stretch of the imagination. We really don't know what they have planned for it. I will say, I actually prefer Jeff Cobb debuting in that spot over what I thought he would, like in NXT or just randomly showing up on the main roster, because he would have gotten lost in the shuffle a lot fucking quicker. If they go on Friday SmackDown and say, oh yeah, he's a part of the family, okay, then it's like, okay, he's not, so this is just stupid. But he's in a prominent spot, so I can't complain too much. The other thing, yes, if Samoa Joe were to go back, you're right. He's not related to them, but would he automatically be involved because he is Samoan? He might be. But I say that, like, I'm not complaining about that because I've always said, even from the moment Joe got fired for the first time 4 or 5 years ago, that I think Joe in the bloodline stuff would be fucking cool. At this point, I mean, he's old enough to where it probably like is not going to happen. I'm not sure if it would even be that great. But the guy can talk his shit. Samoa Joe and Roman, we've seen a lot. I mean, Roman's not even involved at this point. Honestly, like Joe being involved, I mean, Joe shouldn't be like a member of a group like that. Like Cobb works better in a spot like that. Joe should be the one feuding with them. So if he got sucked back into it, I'm not complaining as long as he was feuding with them. Because Joe would fucking destroy all of them. On the mic specifically. Nathaniel said, Metalingus is my favorite Edge theme. How about you? Yeah, Metalingus, obviously. I like the one that he used, the other side, the most recent one in WWE, the Judgment Day one. That was great. But Metalingus is such a classic. The Rob Zombie song and the first song that he used in WWE, I never really cared for those personally. Never gonna stop, yeah, never gonna stop. They're good, I just don't really care about them. Metalingus is easily my favorite, hands down. Richard said, seems like they're trying to shoehorn Evolution 2 with too many shows altogether. I've tweeted that WWE has too many shows within a close proximity of one another and it's oversaturated. Not only that, it seems forced as a way to give the women something with their disjointed tag division and the fact that there's no King and Queen of the Ring happening this year seemingly. Postpone the show to a later date to give it room to breathe and build it up. I agree. Yeah, I saw your tweet about it. I totally agree. They're literally like, we're going to talk about this on WrestleRant Radio, so we won't talk about it too much now. It's one of my talking points for Thursday. But if you look at the schedule, they have Saturday. They just had Backlash, mind you, on this past Saturday. And before that, 3 weeks earlier, we had WrestleMania after almost 8 weeks of almost nothing. So they had Mania 3 weeks ago, Backlash 3 days ago, Saturday night's main event in a week and a half, Money in the Bank 2 weeks after that. They have Evolution seemingly, or no, not even that actually, Night of Champions 3 weeks after that in Saudi Arabia. Saturday night's main event 2 weeks after that, possibly Evolution the next day. And that's not even counting the NXT shows, with Battleground being in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, I believe, and Worlds Collide being 2 weeks after that. That is fucking egregious. That is way too much shit. They got to do a better job of spacing this shit out. Johnny said, do you think Shawn Michaels should have won the world title more than one time during his second tenure? I do. I think it would have been cool. He only held the world championship, too. Like, when he was back from 02 to 08, 2010, he was back for 8 years. That's where I got the 8 from. He won the world title once. And that was in his second match back at Survivor Series 02. And then he lost it 3 or 4 weeks later, back to Triple H. And that was it. Did he need a title? Obviously not. He won the tag titles after that, but he never won like a world title, not even like a mid-card title. Could he have? I mean, did he need to? No, because it was Shawn Michaels. He had classics with John Cena, Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, despite never winning a world championship again. But it would have been cool if he did. Totally. I don't know if he didn't want to, but it would have been cool if he did. Nathaniel said, Maria said, sorry I asked the same question twice. I forgot I asked it. I'm a little hungover, LOL. Well, I hope you're doing, one, it's okay, Maria, and two, I hope you're recovering well from your hangover. Nathaniel said, who do you think is the best Spider-Man, Tobey or Tom Holland? I've said this before. Best Spider-Man is... I love Tom Holland. No, that's actually not true. Okay, no, okay. Best Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Better Peter Parker, Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is a much better Peter Parker. He kind of fits that role better to me. But the better Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, if that makes sense. Johnny says, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame had the best type in theater reaction of all Marvel movies. They were amazing. I saw Infinity War as part of like an employee showing, so I didn't see it with that many other people, although that was cool. Endgame I saw in a packed theater the Thursday it came out. That was also great, but the Long Island experience watching No Way Home was 10 times better. Richie said, hi, I am here. Graham is right. Yes, he's backing up my No Way Home story as far as seeing him earlier that day before I bought tickets. He said, the amount of tears I shed for No Way Home was insane. That match was amazing. That movie was amazing. Grunt says, just incredible. Oh, because I said it was Justin. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, just incredible indeed. Johnny said that person brought hookers after the movie showing. Probably. Probably. The guy that said I'm horny, yeah, he probably did buy some hookers. Did you get hype or buy tickets to Christopher Nolan's movies? Did I get hype for any of them? No, I was never hyped for Oppenheimer. Like, the only movie I was excited for was with Dark Knight Rises after Dark Knight. Did I buy tickets to them? Yeah, I bought tickets to Nolan movies in advance. I've never bought tickets to movies in advance for the most part, aside from big movies that I mentioned. Dark Knight is easily my favorite Nolan movie, but like Dark Knight Rises I was excited for, which I enjoyed because I saw Dark Knight. But like Oppenheimer I wasn't hyped for that, but I thought that was good. Tenet I thought sucked. The other one that came out, oh my God, we were just talking about it. Nick and I were just talking about it the other day. I don't remember what it was. It's the movie that everyone, it's like the time travel one. Interstellar, not that one. That was good too. I watched that after the fact. The movie that everyone loves from Nolan, I don't remember what it is. Didn't love it, but I appreciated it for being for being a good movie. I forgot what it was called though. It came out like 10 years ago. Johnny said, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars will surpass all of the other Marvel movies. I don't know about that. I feel like they won't surpass Infinity War or Endgame, but maybe they'll come close. We'll see. They just don't have the same build, and that is a very big factor. Richie said, without Tama Tonga or Tongaloa, it will never be the same. Specifically Tongaloa. Pour one out for Tongaloa. Yeah, mostly without Tongaloa, Richie said. Millennial Noob said, and I promise we'll go to the scheduled questions in a little bit. I know we've been here for over an hour talking to the chat, but it's fun. You guys are great. So I'll get to the scheduled questions momentarily. But anyway, Millennial Noob said, what do you think of that segment between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss? Do you see them as a tag team, or is there something else happening between them? I did not get the sense that they'd be teaming. I'm not even saying I would hate that, but like we've already seen so many makeshift teams, and there is no fucking tag division anyway. I don't think that'd be a good idea. Let Alexa Bliss shine on her own, please. I mean, if they want to put her with Nikki Cross and the Wyatt Six shit, then fine, but that would make more sense than her and Charlotte Flair. I feel like we might get an Alexa Charlotte Flair feud. We've seen it a few times. They may have done the match like twice. They had a match at Survivor Series, I want to say in 2017. That wasn't like great, and that wasn't even really much of a feud. It was a brand versus brand thing, Raw versus SmackDown thing. And then they had a very short-lived feud in late 2021 when she was doing the Lily Doll shit and they were in Ohio, I think for Night or Clash of Champions. The match was fine, I suppose. Had a lot of bullshit in it, I think. But that was it. Beyond that, they've never really had a formal feud. So I would be okay if them... Honestly, whatever keeps Charlotte out of the title picture, I'm not complaining. Daniel said, Jeff Cobb sounds like an FCW name, LOL. Yeah, but I think that's his real name, is it not? Let's look it up. It does sound like an FCW name. Honestly, if his name was something else and he got it changed to Jeff Cobb, people would be like, what the fuck is this stupid shit? You know what I mean? But the funny thing is that that's his actual like wrestling name, and he's always used that. Yeah, that is his actual name. His name is Jeffrey Cobb, according to Wikipedia. That is very funny. That does sound like a fucking FCW generator name, though. That being said, what was I going to say? I think I saw the other day that they actually patented or trademarked a new name. They filed a trademark for JC Mateo. That sounds like it could be his new name. It's fine. I would keep Jeff Cobb because that's what we know him as, but the vast majority of people don't even know who he is anyway, the WWE fans. But they called him Jeff Cobb on Saturday, to be fair. But JC Mateo might be his name because JC, Jeff Cobb, makes sense. As long as you're from Hawaii, you're family. No, as long as you go to Olive Garden, Johnny, you're family. You can't have two Samoans named Joe, Richie said. You can't. Joe in Hawaii, that's Roman Reigns. So it's just the table of the tribal chief is not big enough for the two of them. Grunt said, while I don't think AEW should buy a big promotion like CMLL and New Japan in response to WWE buying AAA, fuck monopolies, he says. What do you think of Tony Khan buying the PWG library at some point? I think that'd be cool. And he also said, if only to keep it out of the hands of Mr. Levesque and assuming whoever owns it is open to selling it, of course. Yeah, here's the thing. WWE buying shit to put it on the network, or what am I saying? I'm speaking as if it's 2014. Putting it on, like, Peacock would be fine. The problem is they're not even uploading old content anymore. Like, they took all the old Raws off of Peacock and they put up a few of them on Netflix, and I don't think they added any other ones after that, and it's been fucking 4 months. That is ridiculous. But that's not what sells. It's ridiculous for me, but a majority of people don't give a shit, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, I wouldn't want them to buy it just for it to end up like even I'm not even sure it would end up as a tab on Peacock. At least if Tony Khan owned it, they don't have like an AEW network yet, although they probably should. I mean, at this point, they don't even really need one. They're putting all their shit on fucking HBO Max, which a lot of people already own anyway, so that probably makes more sense. But yeah, I mean, a lot of their talent competed in PWG. A lot of the elite guys, a lot of their talent wrestled there. So honestly, them buying the library and using it for like video packages and shit would make sense. Mike has said, it wouldn't be Tuesday if I didn't ask, what movie will you be checking out today, if any? I love that question, Mike, every time you ask it. So I'm not seeing a movie today. Alexis is actually. She might be go seeing with her brother, actually. She might be go seeing the Clown in the Cornfield movie. He already saw it and he liked it, and she wanted to see it, and he's going to go see it again with her. So she's going to go see that for $5. Gotta love a good $5 deal. They make fun of me until it makes sense to do it. Everyone makes fun of my ways. Everyone makes fun of my methods until they start to do it themselves. Geniuses always get mocked before they get... I feel like there's a good like fucking catchphrase you can come up with there. Copied? The geniuses are always mocked before they get copied. I feel like there's or mimicked. I don't know. There's something you could definitely make up there. I kid. But anyway, so she's seeing the Clown in the Cornfield movie that her brother said was good. So she's seeing that for $5 today. I'm not seeing any movie today for $5. We saw Thunderbolts a couple weeks ago and enjoyed it. We saw Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3 of Star Wars in theaters the week before that. Neither being on a Tuesday. We just saw them at full price because they were both great movies. That was great too. The next movie I'm probably seeing, Lilo and Stitch I'm seeing next weekend. Definitely. And that will not be for $5, but I'm seeing that full price, don't care. I want to see and need to see Accountant 2. I love the first movie. I've seen it several times. Alexis hadn't seen it, and I thought she would like it, so we watched the first one, and it was great. She liked it. So we will probably see it together. Not today. Hopefully soon, because it already came out a couple of weeks ago. It would have to be soon. Probably within the next week or so is the plan. So we'll see. I want to see Accountant 2. That's the next movie on my list to check out. And then Lilo and Stitch. Johnny said WWE loves the word oversaturated. I mean, they don't use the word oversaturated. They just, a lot of their shit is oversaturated. The more the merrier, more shows, more money. Yeah, exactly. Micah said, when I was growing up watching wrestling pay-per-view builds were never 2 weeks apart. Everything was like 4 weeks away from each other. I mean, yeah, they didn't do pay-per-views that often. It was always once a month. I guess when you got into the brand exclusive pay-per-views, they might have been a couple weeks apart. But WWE at that point, if they were doing brand exclusive shows in 02, 03, 04, 05, they stopped doing them in like 05, I think. But in 02 and 03 and 04, they would do like Backlash in April, and that would be a Raw show, and then SmackDown wouldn't have a show until Judgment Day, which would be May. So they really wouldn't have pay-per-views the same month. Yeah, Nick said Inception. That's what it was. by the way. That's the movie we were talking about the other day. I've seen Inception. We watched it about a year ago, Alexis and I did. Liked it. I thought it was a well-done movie. It's just not my favorite movie I wouldn't watch again. I just don't like the whole cutesy with the fucking dream bullshit, dream sequences, time machine, time travel stuff. I like time travel movies, but it was just kind of it was too complicated for my stupid, simple mind. Let's put it that way. I thought Shawn Michaels won the tag titles with Triple H. Yeah, that's what I said, Nathaniel. So he won the tag titles when he came back in 02. Not in 02. But he won the tag titles with Triple H for a couple months in 09 as DX. He also held the tag titles with John Cena in 2007 for a few months. Don't think he had any other tag title reigns beyond that, but I could be wrong. If I really thought about it, I would probably remember, but I don't think he did. Daniel said, I don't think Shawn Michaels wanted to be champ during that second run, didn't want the hassle of being champ. Yeah, that would make sense. It'd be a good question to ask him, actually. He's probably answered that. But yeah, he probably didn't want the schedule of being a world champion at that age in his. And the funny thing is, Shawn Michaels was like fucking late 30s at that point. They have world champions now that are 40, 45. Like 40. Like John Cena's fucking 45 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's just funny that that's the reason that Shawn Michaels would have said no, because they have champions now that are significantly older than he was when he would have been champion at that point. Nathaniel said, I was sad when they canceled Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4. I was kind of hoping they would make it in the future, but it might be way too late for that. Yeah, it's probably too late. Would I mark because I like those movies? Yeah, that'd be cool. But like at the same time, how old is he now? Fucking late 40s? I mean, it probably wouldn't exactly work. Oh, here, Peter Parker coming to school. And I'm just kidding, but high school reunion time. Here comes Peter Parker in a fucking wheelchair. Probably not. But that would, I don't know. Depends on how it would be done. Fernando said Jeff Cobb and Solo are going to turn on Jacob Fatu and will be a babyface. Jacob's going to be a babyface? Yeah, I could see that. I'd rather see Jacob and Jeff Cobb turn on Solo. And Solo goes solo. Nathaniel asked, did you like the Shazam movies? I liked the first one. I thought the first one exceeded expectations for me. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I saw the second one. Not nearly as good. It was okay. It wasn't bad. But the first one was way better. And the second one, like, the way, and I don't know if it was an acting thing or the director's choice thing, or whatever. But the way that main guy, I forgot his name, the guy who plays Shazam, was acting when he was like, because he's a kid. He's a kid in a superhero's body. When he grows up, he was acting like a fucking 5-year-old, but the kid would have been like in high school. Like when he was a teenager, when he was in teenage mode, he acted normal. But when that same teenager, storyline-wise, was in the adult body of Shazam, he acted like a fucking 5-year-old. It was weird. I don't know if it was an acting thing or a directing thing. I don't know. I didn't like that. So that second movie wasn't great. And it also didn't lead to anything anyway, so it was kind of a waste of time. Fernando said, where do you rank John Cena versus Randy Orton's PLE match among the others? Honestly, towards the top. Genuinely, it's not their best match, but they had so many fucking matches that, quite honestly, a lot of them just blend together and were not that great. I don't know if it's top 3. To me, their best match, which I've talked about before, was their Iron Man match in 09 at Bragging Rights. I think that's the best Cena-Orton match. I also enjoyed the I Quit match, the Hell in a Cell matches they had. So this might be like 5. I know Grunt has like fond memories of the SummerSlam match in 07. I haven't seen that enough lately to remember how great that match was. I think this was better than that. I'd have to go back and watch it. Just because this was so ridiculous and it was a lot more fun to me and whatever, just considering the circumstances. It would be in the top. If they've had 50 matches, this was in the top 5 or 6. I don't know what that says about the other matches, but to me, that's where it ranks. Just off the top of my head. Mike has said, Charlotte Flair destroyed Lily the doll. Did Alexa Bliss forget? Why would they become a tag team? Yeah, I forgot about that. That's why Alexa Bliss disappeared for like fucking 8 or 9 months after that. And that was not when she was pregnant. I think she got hurt or something. I forgot what happened. Yeah, why would they become a tag team? That just wouldn't make sense. Richie said, Kef Job. Yeah, if he starts to become a jobber, they can call him Kef Jobber. Jeff Cobb should wrestle in a Corn on the Cob death match, Johnny said. If Vince McMahon was in charge, you goddamn know that he would be in some sort of match like that, or his finisher would be called Corn on the Cob. Richie said, Cobb versus Goldberg, Loser eats corn the long way. Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Fernando said Flair versus Alexa would be good as a one-off, not as part of a long storyline. Yeah, I mean, long, like a 6-month feud, probably not. But for a short-term thing to keep Flair out of the title picture, I'm honestly okay with it. Nathaniel said he saw Thunderbolts on Friday. Let me know what you thought of it, Nathaniel. I enjoyed it myself, personally. Yeah, exactly, Grunt. I'm the genius, right? I said geniuses always get mocked until, and I just don't know how to finish that phrase. Coming from me, the self-proclaimed genius, I don't know, there's got to be some sort of a expression to use. Geniuses get mocked until they get copied or something. Nathaniel said, or Fernando said also, I recommend Final Destination Bloodlines. Here's the thing. I've seen the originals, or most of the originals, on like TV when I was a kid. Those movies were addicting to watch just to see how fucking ridiculous they would get. But I think the older I've gotten and the more careful I've become, I feel like a lot of that shit is so realistic, it would scare the fuck out of me. And I'm not even someone who has bad anxiety. Obviously, everyone has anxiety to a degree, but I feel like I just had this discussion yesterday with Alexis because her anxiety is way worse than mine. And I said, if you watch, I know you want to watch that movie, you would be doing yourself a disservice. For someone who worries about sometimes the silliest stuff, why would the fuck would you subject yourself to go see this movie where a lot of the deaths are surely going to be realistic? Like, just anything could go wrong. Like, your fucking brakes cut out. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's scary. I am, morbidly curious to see the movie. But those first few movies, listen, I am not the only one who is still scarred driving behind a log truck. Surely, if you've seen the second one, you know exactly what I'm talking about and you feel the same way. We were scarred for life after seeing that shit. Do I hope they make Shazam 3 Nathaniel last? No. I don't. The second one wasn't good enough to warrant a third one, and they also blew up the entire DC creative direction anyway. Oh, Zachary Levi. Yeah, he was the hero playing Shazam. Forgot about that. Richie said, corn on the cob as a finisher is sending me. Yeah, it's funny for the fact that it's not true. You know what I'm saying? If Vince was in charge, we would have gotten that. We would have gotten that for sure. Absolutely would have happened. Got me giggling at my desk, Richie said. I'm glad I popped you. Nathaniel said, I thought Thunderbolts was great. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was great too. I'm looking forward to Fantastic Four. Mike said, what do you think are McAfee's best matches out of his 5? Good question. I think the Adam Cole one is probably his best. That might be, I'd have to go back and watch it. This one had a crowd too, so this was kind of different. This might be his best match. I think this Gunther match might have been his best one in WWE. I think he's had more than 5 matches, actual matches. Let's see. The Gunther one might be his best. The Adam Cole one and that are probably tied. If you're counting War Games, War Games would be up there because War Games, all the NXT War Games were great. So that would probably be 3. And then he had matches with who? Theory and Corbin. Those were good. They were fun, but they weren't as good as the other ones. So I would probably go Theory then Corbin. The Corbin match was kind of underwhelming. I remember that one being I thought that'd be better. So yeah, I'd probably go Theory then Corbin. He technically faced Vince McMahon, did he not? Did he not face Vince at WrestleMania 38? That would obviously be dead last. That match was fucking atrocious, even though it was a minute or 2 long. That would be last. If we're not counting his Rumble appearance, which he barely did anything, then let's not count that. He also technically had a match with The Miz at 39. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that, because I was actually walking while that match was going on. I was leaving the press box to go down to the floor to go to the press conference. So I actually didn't, I don't know if I ended up seeing that, but obviously it was a minute long. So I would probably go Gunther, Adam Cole, for the simple fact this last one had a crowd. So that one, then the Adam Cole match, then War Games, Austin Theory at 38, Baron Corbin at SummerSlam 2022. We're not counting the Rumble. That wasn't even really a match. He didn't even do anything. And then the Miz match at 39, Miz match, and then the match with McMahon at 38. So that would be my ranking. There we go, Grunt. Grunt said, great minds are always persecuted in their time. There you go. He knows the expression more than I do. Yeah, no, I'll always nope out of watching any Final Destination movie, he said. Johnny said, you got a point. Nolan loves to make his movies very intelligent. You're right. I am too fucking stupid for that shit. I'm too stupid for it. I'd rather watch mind-numbingly dumb movies. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Nolan. Nolan's an amazing director. Inception, I understand why it's a classic. Oh my God, Alexis and I watched a movie was it a Nolan movie? Oh, I don't remember what it was. I don't know if she's here still, but we watched the movie that she was like, oh, you got to see this movie. I think it was Christopher Nolan. It took place in a lighthouse or something. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It has the Titanic guy in it. When I do these live streams, my mind, I swear I'm not this stupid in real life. It's just these names slip out of my mind. The guy that likes 25-year-olds, he's in this movie, and it's about like a lighthouse. And it has like he forgets or whatever. He forgets shit on purpose. Forgot the name of the movie. I could look it up and find it, but I'd rather, if you guys could just remind me, that would be great. Alexis, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Shutter Island, thank you. How does Alexis not know what I'm talking about? Yeah, thank you, Nick. Shutter Island, yes. I think, was that a Christopher Nolan movie? We watched Shutter Island like a month or two ago, and that was a good movie. Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, now we're filling in the blanks here. The names and the movie titles. Yes, thank you guys. I did like Titanic. It was just too long, obviously. I think I watched it in 10th grade because you always get those people, oh, have you never seen this movie? Like when I was in 10th grade, people were like, oh, you've never seen Titanic? Like, no, I'm a fucking 15-year-old male. Like, I don't go out of my way to watch the fucking Titanic. But we watched it in English class in high school, and it was good. Can't say I cried, but I enjoyed it. Nick said he watched it with us from the window outside. Yeah, okay, now I remember. That makes sense. Yes. All right, Martin Scorsese. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Johnny. That was a Martin Scorsese movie. Yes, I mix him up with Nolan. Some of their movies I mix up. But anyway, let me go back real quick I didn't read off some of these chats from earlier. I wonder when Doctor Doom will appear in the MCU, Nathaniel said. Probably at the end of Fantastic Four, I would think. Probably in the post-credit scene. Obviously, Doomsday. But I would think at the end of Fantastic Four in a post-credit scene. War Games match might be Pat's best match, Johnny said. It might be. I'd probably put it 3, but that was a great match, too. McAfee versus Austin Theory was my favorite one. Interesting, Micah said. Okay. That was a good one. I just think the other matches were better. The Gunther one's probably my favorite. That was a fucking guilty pleasure of mine on Saturday. Just a complete train wreck. And the fact that McAfee lasted that long is totally unbelievable. Listen, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. But I love the fuck out of it, so who am I to complain? Nathaniel asked, did you like Edge's match with Theory? Did you want him to win? Are you talking about the match they had on Raw? That's a random question. They had a good match. I mean, it was good. I don't remember it being a classic, but they were in Canada. The crowd was behind Edge. I think it was for the United States Championship. Edge, as U.S. champion, would have been cool. But Theory was in the middle of his run at that point. They were pushing him, so no, I didn't really want Edge to win. He was in the middle of that feud with the Judgment Day anyway. Do I prefer Hell in a Cell or War Games? Good question. I prefer Hell in a Cell. When it's built up as a specialty, like it was with Punk and McIntyre, I prefer Hell in a Cell. War Games is great. And even if War Games was more special, if they brought it back when it was like it meant something and it wasn't just an annual thing, I still prefer Hell in a Cell. War Games matches can be very long sometimes, just based on the formatting of it. And that's fine. But War Games is great. But I personally prefer Hell in a Cell. I would have loved Edge to have won at least one singles title or one singles match in WWE. It was a little disappointing. He didn't, at least he did in AEW. I think you mean singles title, not match. He obviously won a lot of singles matches. He didn't win any gold when he was around in WWE. But yeah, he's in AEW. He's been a TNT champion. He vied for the world title. Probably going to win the tag titles at some point. So yeah, I mean, at least in AEW, he's going to win some gold, which is cool. Has won gold already. I love to watch Quentin Tarantino's movies over and over, Johnny said. Quentin Tarantino's got some good ones. My college roommate showed me, we had this one semester about 10 years ago. It was actually like right after Roman Reigns won the Rumble. We had a span of a couple of weeks where we had snow days every Monday for like fucking 3 weeks. RJ remembers this. I don't know. I doubt he's here still, but he was in the same boat. He was in school with me at that point at the same school. So we had like 3 straight weeks of snowstorms. And you know, so we watched a lot of movies. So he showed me that movie. He showed me, what was it? A fucking, what's it called? Well, we watched the Django Unchained. That was amazing. I had never seen that before. That was a Tarantino movie. That's probably my favorite one. Pulp Fiction was the one I was thinking of. We watched Pulp Fiction I'd never seen it. He had a poster of it in our college dorm room, and I'd never seen it, the movie, so he showed it to me. Great movie. I probably prefer Tarantino's movies over Nolan's, honestly, but I also love Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, so it's probably even. I didn't love, and Alexis knows this, I didn't love, because she felt the same way, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie when that came out. I also just didn't understand it. I'm a fucking dumbass when it comes to history, so the ending was great. The ending was excellent. And I watched it a second time with my brother after that, with my dad, and we liked it. I liked it a lot more the second time, knowing the story and the history behind it. I liked it a lot more the second time. I'm trying to think what other Tarantino movies I would have seen. I've never seen Kill Bill 1 or 2. I did not see Glorious Bastards. I know he's only made a handful. I have not seen Hateful Eight. I'm going to look it up. Quentin Tarantino. I've definitely seen one other one, though. The Django Unchained, Hateful Eight I have not seen. I know I said Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Kill Bill, Grindhouse, Death Bride. I have not seen any of those. I guess those are the only ones. No, yeah, I have not seen Reservoir Dogs or Four Rooms or Jackie Brown. Yeah, so I guess that would have been... I guess I have only seen 3 of his movies. Pulp Fiction, The Django, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I got to go back and watch the other ones. I know the other ones are classics. I just haven't seen them. All right, let's go back. Rose had room in that damn door for Jack to get on. Yeah, fuck, you know what? Fuck Rose. Yeah, I agree, Daniel. She had enough. Rose had more than enough fucking room in that damn door for Jack to get on. They just, they were just trying to fuck over Jack. Fuck you, Rose. Yeah, the guy from Titanic, exactly. That is the cinema meme guy that we see on Twitter after every PLA. Oh, no, I know. Yeah, no, I'm aware. He goes, that's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? Isn't that the scene of the movie? I know who he is. I know who Leo DiCaprio is. I know who that is. Just the name escaped me. There's a difference between not me knowing who he is and then me just forgetting his name. I forget, especially when I'm here on the spot and I know we're live, then I just don't remember. But typically, if I have more time to think about it, I just can't sit here in silence for a minute, because then that's not good. You don't want to be sitting here watching me just look at the screen for a minute. That would be very very boring. Micah said, I feel you on that, GSM. I've seen parts of Titanic, but I've never sat down and watched the Foley, and I probably won't unless I'm getting paid. No, I mean, I've seen it now. I've seen it a time or two now. I saw it in school, and then I saw it on TV after that. It was good. I liked it. I wouldn't watch it again, probably, willingly, but it was good. Grunt said, I'd like Titanic a lot more if my older sister hadn't made me watch the 4-hour extended edition over and over when I was 8. Yeah, I would hate it too if that was the case. Yeah, the match on Raw Nathaniel was talking about. Yeah, one singles title is also what you meant. Johnny said, is Will in your top 10 favorite of all time? Will who? Will Ospreay? What are we talking about, Johnny? Will who? Grunt said, the handshake out of respect is where I really draw the line. Come on now. But hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, yeah, the Pat McAfee-Gunther match. Yeah, no, listen, I don't disagree with you, Grunt. I would not have done the handshake. I know it's Gunther's thing because he did it with Cody, but there's a difference between Cody and fucking Pat McAfee. He probably should have sent Pat McAfee out on a stretcher and got him off commentary for a couple weeks, but they just didn't do that. That I have an issue with. I didn't have a major issue with it. That did bother me a little bit. But maybe I guess they did that so they don't have an issue going forward to kind of let you know, okay, he's done with Pat. He got my respect. I'm moving on now. I guess that's why they did it, but I'm not a friend. I'm not a super big fan. Will Smith. Is Will Smith in one of my top 10 favorite of all time? Richie said. Or Will, yeah, I figured you meant Will Ospreay. The only Will that matters? I don't know. Richie brought up Will Smith, so I don't know about that. Is Will Ospreay my top 10 favorite of all time? Not even close. And I like Will Ospreay, but I have so many more favorite wrestlers beyond Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay might be top 10 wrestlers in the world right now, but he's not top 10 favorite of all time for me. Not even close. Yeah, put them in a suit and tie slap death match. Keep your name. By the way, Shelton Benjamin using that keep my fucking name, keep my name or is it damn name? I forgot what he said exactly. To whatever that Chris Rock at that award show a few years ago. Keep my name out of your fucking mouth or whatever it was. That was great. I love the fact that Shelton used that on Hogan on Twitter last week. That was fucking funny. Fernando asked RKO or Stunner? RKO all day. All day, every day. Always been a big RKO fan. Probably my favorite finisher of all time. Nathaniel said, are you excited for the new Jurassic World movie? No, but I'm probably going to watch it. Because we like dinosaur shit, Alexis and I do. And that last trilogy was a mess. I like that third movie, the second one, the most recent trilogy. That second movie sucked. And this first movie I liked. But I'll see this new one. I'll see it. I'll see what the hype's about. Maybe it's better. I don't know why the fuck they're making more, but we'll see. Quentin's motto is quality over quantity. Yeah, no, I know. He wanted to always make just 10 movies or whatever, right? Wasn't that his whole thing? 10 or 11 movies, and now he announced his 10th movie. It was like about a women journalist or something, or a blogger, or a movie critic, and then he canceled it, and they're not doing it now. I don't remember, but that was the latest update that I saw. Richie said, them doing Bruce Lee dirty in that film is sacrilegious. In which movie? I know I mentioned it before, but I forgot which movie you're talking about. I meant Martin Scorsese's silly. Oh, of course. Okay. Yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying. Jack dying in Titanic was sad. It was sad. I can't say I cried, though. I've cried at other movie scenes. I didn't cry at that. Especially if they had room on the goddamn fucking door. And they didn't move over. Richie said, Leo is the one pointing at the TV meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yes. Yeah, no, I know. I know. Did I say Martin Scorsese or something? I don't know what the fuck I said, but yes. I know Leo was the one doing the meme. I think that's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Johnny said Reservoir Dogs, Inglourious Bastards, and Kill Bill are classics. Well, I'll have to watch them. Mike has said, what is your favorite Jake Gyllenhaal movie? Have you ever seen Ambulance, Southpaw, or End of Watch? I've only, of those three, seen Southpaw. I forgot that was a Jake Gyllenhaal movie. I liked it. I kind of forgot about that movie until you just mentioned it. I have seen it, though. It was good. The other Jake Gyllenhaal movies that come to mind, I'm sure I've seen more than these. I mean, I'm such a fucking mark. But I think the first movie I think of is when he was in Far From Home, the Spider-Man movie as Mysterio a couple of years ago. And that might be my number one. Alexis and I, she showed me, I think last year, the movie where he's a journalist. I forgot the name of the movie. She likes that movie a lot. And it was very good. It was a very good movie. He's like fucking Psycho. It's almost like American Psycho. It's a different version of that with Jake Gyllenhaal. I forgot the name of it. But that was good. That might be my favorite one aside from Far From Home. I'm sure I've seen other Jake Gyllenhaal movies, but Southpaw I have seen. I just haven't seen it in like 10 years. And it was good when I watched it. Johnny also said Hateful Eight, Jackie Brown, and Death Proof are great. Might have to watch those too. Just haven't seen them. Nightcrawler. That was the name of the Jake Gyllenhaal movie that I just mentioned. Thank you, Alexis. That's what it was called. Quentin made Bruce Lee look weak in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, okay. I don't remember that. I don't remember. He made him look weak. Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch the movie. I don't remember in what way he made him look weak. Is he in the movie? Is Bruce Lee in it? Or they just like talk shit about him or something? I don't remember. Are you shocked that Chris Pratt won't be in the new Jurassic World movie, Nathaniel asked? No, I'm not shocked. I mean, they want to reboot it, but they're like everything else is still canon. How the fuck do you have a canon universe where like dinosaurs ruled the world and they're like you're still doing dumb shit and letting them run amok? Or like you're still fucking with them? Then you're just dumb. Honestly, the Jurassic movies get stupid after like the first one. If you're still fucking with these things and putting them among like humans by like even Jurassic World, then you're just stupid. That's just fucking dumb to me. But I'm not shocked that he's not in it. They want to get a whole new cast, so I understand. Have you seen any episodes of The Last of Us, Fernando asked? Yes, I have. I've seen all of them up to date. I watched the latest one, I think yesterday or earlier. I forgot, but the latest one was good. The one from last week was great, and the week before that was very good. I've seen the entire second season so far. I'm completely caught up on the show. And it is very good. Graphic sometimes, but it is very good. And I would recommend it. Nightcrawler not getting nominated for anything of the Oscars still angers me to this day, Richie said. Did it not? That's crazy. Very surprising. Yeah, Fernando said Nightcrawler as well. Grunt said Beach Break hype, let's go, just a day away. So here's the thing about Beach Break, talking about Dynamite on Wednesday. I have not watched Dynamite live in a while. There's just no point. Typically, because the show isn't like must see, and it's not like, oh, you only watch WWE live. I actually don't. I actually watch Raw after the fact. I skip commercials and shit. I watch SmackDown after the fact, skip the commercials and shit. I'm probably going to watch Beach Break either live tomorrow or soon after. I usually watch it like late at night or the next morning. I'm probably going to watch it this Wednesday. I'm looking forward to Joe and Moxley inside of the cage and the rest of that show. It looks like it's got a lot of potential. They're in Chicago. So I'm going to be looking, I'm looking forward to the show, Grunt, and I will be watching either live or like immediately soon after to be, I like to skip through the commercials. To me, it's just a waste of time. Oh, he got beat up by Brad Pitt, Fernando said. Bruce Lee did. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Brad Pitt's character tosses Bruce Lee into the car easily. Oh, that's just, okay, that's just ridiculous. Richie said, Graham, you should watch Prisoners with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I would recommend Donnie Darko in Brokeback Mountain. The latter is a phenomenal film. Yes, Prisoners I've heard of because Nick recommended that to Alexis. I think she watched it and she liked it. I saw maybe 10 minutes of it. Donnie Darko I've heard of. Brokeback Mountain I've definitely heard of. Is that not the movie with Anne Hathaway? I might be wrong. I think she's in that movie, but I've definitely heard of it. I know I've heard of it. It's a great movie. Last of Us or Walking Dead. Last of Us every fucking day. I was just talking to my brother about, I know this has turned into a TV discussion, by the way, but fuck it, who cares? I'll get to the question soon, I promise. I say that and it's already been, an hour and a half? It's been an hour and 40 minutes. I'm sorry. We're having a lot of fun talking about TV shows and movies. We should just have a separate podcast talking about TV shows and movies. But anyway, I was talking to my brother the other day on Mother's Day about the two shows. Because I'm like, I did watch a few episodes of Walking Dead when he first got into it, and it never really did anything for me. Like, the graphic nature of it wasn't really for me. I say I was younger. I was in fucking college or high school. I mean, I wasn't that young. I can deal with the graphic shit now. But it just didn't really interest me. Like, Walking Dead never really excited me or interested me. It seemed very boring. But it just kind of felt like, yeah, it's about the relationships of the existing humans. But I like Last of Us so much more because the entire first season's about getting the cure for Ellie. Or Ellie is the cure, and they want to get a cure for the fucking outbreak and shit. And the entire second season, I won't spoil anything, but it has, like, they have different arcs. In Walking Dead, I haven't watched Walking Dead, so I can't speak to it exactly. But it just seems like it's about a lot of the humans turning on each other. And again, it's about their relationships. But the arcs in Last of Us, to me, are a lot better, a lot more compelling. The acting's better. I don't know. I like and I also love Pedro Pascal. I don't know. I love I was immediately hooked on Last of Us. And I didn't even play the game. I know what happens in the games to a certain extent. I never, I didn't watch, I didn't, know everything that happened in the games, but I didn't play the games. I like Last of Us a lot. It's a great show. The Walking Dead has also been very good. Or Last of Us, sorry. Walking Dead just never really did much for me. Johnny said Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park should have stopped while they were good. Yeah, Indiana Jones, I enjoyed the last one. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a great movie at all. Like, it was amazing. But I liked it more than the fourth movie, actually. And maybe more than the second. I think that's probably a hot take, but I would rank the Indiana Jones movies 3, 1, 5, 2, 4. It's probably how I just didn't like the second one. I like the fifth one, though. It's not like a great movie. Jurassic Park should have ended a while ago. That shit made... What are we fucking doing? I know they make money. That's why they do it. Richie said, I would also recommend The Guilty, which can be watched on Netflix, Life, End of Watch, and Source Code. Interesting. I haven't heard of any of those. I'm going to have to check those out. Is Life the alien movie that they came out with, maybe it's definitely something else. I think I saw a movie called Life when I was in college. That came out in 2017. And a lot of people thought it might connect to fucking Venom or something. It wasn't a Venom film. It was its own thing. And Ryan Reynolds, I think, was in this movie, too. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I feel like that was called Life. And that was not great. But maybe that's the one you're talking about. I don't know. Fair warning, Prisoners is very heavy. Yeah, I know. I saw Alexis watching some scenes, and I was like, I'm good on this. I'm good on the super heavy stuff. So, she watched it, though. She said she liked it. Grunt said, that's completely valid. Streaming has definitely changed things for the better. Definitely. I enjoy streaming a lot. I mean, there's definitely some... Oh, as far as, like, watching shit after the fact. Yeah, I mean, even on cable and stuff, I don't know. Yeah, I like watching shit after the fact. That's why you have recordings and streaming. I just don't like sitting there from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 on a Friday night. It just... Dude, if I fucking watch SmackDown live every week, I'd probably kill myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I love wrestling. I love AEW. I love WWE. I love watching Dynamite and Raw and SmackDown and even TNA and shit like that. But the beauty of those shows is I can get through them in like a fucking hour and a half by skipping through all the bullshit, the replays, the commercials, the product placement, the fucking this, the that. It's way too much. I just don't have the time. I don't have the patience and I don't have the time. It should be a beach death match instead of a steel cage. I don't know what that would look like, Johnny, for Joe and Moxley, but that would be interesting. Micah said, seeing a lot of the IWC saying Cena's heel turn is underwhelming. What do you think about it? I mean, I can get into this and spend an entire fucking hour on it, but I'll give you the short of it. It has been underwhelming, absolutely. I don't honestly, I can't really... It's really all about your level of enjoyment. If you've enjoyed it, that's fine. That's totally fine. For me, it's been underwhelming. I can't really see how it hasn't been underwhelming. The promos are fucking terrible. The Backlash match I liked. I said that. The Mania match I did not. But he hasn't connected it with The Rock. That's kind of like between the promos and then not connecting it back to The Rock and the fact that this turn kind of came out of nowhere and we don't really know what his character's motivations are. That's been the biggest issue. For how long we've been waiting for heel Cena, I'm glad we got it, honestly, because at least they tried it. But the execution has been lazy. The lack of presentation change, that's been another major issue with it for me personally. Not the issue, but an issue. It has been underwhelming. Brokeback Mountain does have Anne Hathaway. It also has... Oh, Heath Ledger. Okay. All right. I'll have to check that one out. Mike has said, honestly, I'm just enjoying the conversation. You can run the show as long as you want, LOL. I don't think we'd mind here in the chat. I appreciate that, Micah. I will talk about whatever the fuck you guys want. Primarily TV shows and movies. Let's not go into politics and other dumb shit. Obviously. Within reason. But, I love talking about TV shows and movies and wrestling. That's my area of expertise. Grunt said, I do not miss the days of having to make time to watch the day of or miss out entirely, unless you can work the VCR, in constant commercials. I do not miss those days either. Richie said, Walking Dead was great up until the 4th or 5th season. Negan started strong but went downhill. Doesn't he have a show now? Like we were watching, we were with Nick and his wife, Lindsay, and Alexis and I were a few days ago. And we were watching AMC or something, and they had a commercial for the fucking new Negan show, the spinoff show that he's in. I love the guy that plays him, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But, like, didn't he debut, like, a fucking decade ago? They have a show with him now? Like, what are we doing? Micah said, Walking Dead died for me the day that Glenn got his head bashed in by Negan. I mean, I think a lot of people felt that way. I remember when that happened. A lot of people stopped watching after that. My brother, I think, was one of those people. Richie said, Last of Us Season 1 was great. I've not seen Season 2 yet, but I'm also not in a rush after playing the game, and I'm not really caring to see how they adapt the story for television. That's totally fine. I could see that. A lot of people, I have not seen as many people talk about the new season after that scene happened that we're talking, that I know, you know what I'm talking about. Alexis has not seen the show since after episode 2. She stopped watching after that. I told her, Nick and Lindsay told her coworker told her, hey, you should definitely watch the rest of it. It's good. I stand by that. I've caught up on the show. It is great. But she hasn't wanted to watch the rest of it after that happened, if you know what I'm talking about. Nathaniel said, I can't wait for Stranger Things Season 5 trailer on May 31st. Is that confirmed? May 31st, the trailer? I feel like I heard that, but I forgot. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We watched the entire show earlier this year, and, I didn't love it initially, but the Season 4 I thought was very good. So I am looking forward to that 5th season. Also, splitting the second game into a third season seems silly, but I get it. Money, Richie said. Talking about Last of Us. Yeah, that seems weird. If they do like a fucking 4th season that was also rumored, don't love that. Don't love that. But, they want a 3-season arc thing, so I get it. Fernando says, do you like the Ellie character? I find it hard to get behind her. No, I like the Ellie character. I don't have an issue with her. I think the girl who plays her does a great job. I know there's been a lot of conversation, apparently. I haven't really seen it, but apparently there's been a lot of chatter about how she plays Ellie. I think she does a great job, and I think the character herself is cool. I mean, obviously she's a flawed character, but I think that's kind of the point. Yeah, I have no issue with Ellie personally. Mike has said, what other video games do you think should or have such great stories that can be turned into a movie or TV series? Good question. Again, like I said, I'm not much of a video game guy these days, so I can't really say. But like, I borderline cried when that Mario movie came out. I love that movie. I thought they did a great job adapting it. I want to see a sequel. I don't know what the movement on that has been. That movie came out 2 years ago. I've heard very little since then. But another Mario movie I think would be great. I don't know, like Last of Us I never played. I know what GTA is. I don't know if GTA would work as a movie. You know what I will say was adapted very well? Fallout. I actually just saw last night that I think Fallout comes back for its second season in December. I thought it was next year. I mean, basically, that is close to 2026, but December is still this year. That's fucking cool. So I'm going to be spending Christmas watching people get their head blown off and shit. But Fallout was a very good... I've never played the games. My brother did. But that first season was very good. Richie said, yeah, that is the one, Grim. It also stars Ryan Reynolds. Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't like that movie. I didn't like it. I did watch Life. I just, I don't know. Kind of felt like a second-rate Alien movie. Second-rate Aliens with, what's her fucking name? Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, I didn't like Life. I did see it in theaters. Didn't love it, though. But the other ones, I'm sure, are good recommendations. Micah said Prisoners GSM. What did you say? Prisoners GSM, you got to check it out today. Never mind, LOL. Yeah, I probably won't. I watched part of it with Alexis, and I was like, yeah, this isn't exactly my cup of tea. Not exactly. But, she said she liked it, so. Anything, I will say, and I think that movie has to do with this, I've watched movies that have to do with this, so I'm not saying any movie that features this I won't watch. But if I know it's in there, it kind of just turns me off. Anything that has to do with the R word, if you know what I'm talking about, I don't like that. And I think that has to... I don't know if that's in there. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. But I remember just knowing what the movie was about or watching some parts of it and thinking, I don't really like that. I actually watched half of my aforementioned college roommate recommended to me American Psycho, and we watched it. And I actually did not watch the rest of it. After the dog scene, but I think it ends up coming out like it's a dream. He didn't actually kill the dog or kick the dog. That fucking bothered me. Animal abuse and shit bothers me. I watched the John Wick movies. I mean, that was bothersome, but it wasn't enough to make me turn off the movie. I was also, again, I can't say I was a young kid. I was in fucking college, so I was kind of a baby, but I just don't really like watching that shit. It kind of just bothers me. The performances are great. It's just heavy subject matter is all Richie said about Prisoners. It's nothing depressing or scaring like Hereditary. Yeah, that's, scarring. Yeah, Hereditary, we talked about that. Hereditary, knowing what's in that movie, I'm not going to watch that. I just have no interest. That's not enjoyable to me. It's not interesting. We watched, shout out to John Ritland. They gave me the code for it years ago, which is why I watched it. That movie with Florence Pugh that came out. Oh my God, what's the name of that movie? I didn't like that one either. It was in 2019. Didn't like that. That was fucking weird. I mean, I appreciate it. Was like, I could appreciate it for what it is. I know Nick watched it recently too. Didn't love that movie. Just some weird fucking shit. Johnny goes, last time you binged the show? I'm not a binger. Typically, but there will come times where Alexis and I really get into a show and we finish it like within days. So we did that with we had an Apple TV subscription or something that was expiring, so we watched all of Severance season 1 in like a fucking weekend. And there's only like 10 episodes, 9 episodes, whatever it was. So it didn't really take that long to watch it, but we binged that in a weekend. We used to binge all of the Star Wars stuff, like Clone Wars, Rebels. We binged Rebels in like fucking 3 months. And even if we made more of an effort, we probably could have finished it sooner. Rebels we finished in like a fucking 3-week period. Rebels we finished very quickly. Yeah, we tend to binge some shows. We binged the last show that I binged was probably LFG. We haven't seen the most recent episode, but we binged all the episodes that we binged like 6 or 7 episodes in the span of like a couple days. About a month or so ago. So I think LFG might have been the last one that we binged. I'm sure there's other ones. There's just so much TV right now. We also binged Second season, we binged Stranger Things, but that took us a little bit longer to get like into and watch. I don't know if we binged it, but we watched the entire show in like maybe about a month or two, probably like month and a half. But anyway, so we also binged Punisher, the second season. Fucking amazing. We watched the second, not the entire second season, but we watched maybe 5 episodes in a night. I think we went to bed at like fucking 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we gotta. I mean, I honestly, if she says just keep going, I'm gonna keep going. But when she was like, all right, we gotta turn this off. I gotta go to bed. But it was her call. So I think Punisher was another one that we binged a few months ago. Top 5 ruthless aggression era stars, Fernando asked. I mean, probably John Cena, Batista, Orton, Edge, Brock Lesnar. Most likely. Have you seen the show Young Sheldon, Nathaniel asked? No. I have not watched Young Sheldon. My sister has, though. And she liked it a lot. She binged it. She's a big binger. She watches a lot of television. She binged that show and she really liked it. But she's also the type of person, she's 12, mind you. But she's also the type of person to be like, oh, I don't want to finish it, so I'll like leave the last episode so I won't fully finish it. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm finishing the show. I'm not going to leave the last episode for down the road at a point where I don't give a shit anymore. Nathaniel said, I was so happy that we got heel Cena, but I was so disappointed about The Rock not being more involved. I agree. Richie said WrestleRant 24-hour stream. Oh my God. Don't give me not PTSD. Don't give them ideas. This might turn into 24 hours because we're over 2 hours in, almost 2 hours in. I have yet to answer a single scheduled question. Well, we got a lot of people here in the chat. I appreciate you guys joining in. Like I said, like the video, all that other stuff, greatly appreciated. But anyway, hit that like button. 1 like equals 1 Tyreek appearance. I wish. Keep liking the video, Tyreek. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Tyreek. I believe in Love Ziggler. Johnny said, thumbtack filled beach balls, surfboards, frisbees, and crabs. What crabs are we talking about here? Would be weapons in a beach death match. Yeah, that would be, that sounds like a spectacle that AEW would be interested in booking. Johnny also said, I can't wait for season 5 of The Boys. Listen, The Boys is fucking awesome television. That is a show. I did not watch that with Alexis. I think she would like it. I don't know. We didn't watch it together. I watched that one on my own. I binged that show. I watched all 4 seasons in Gen Z, or whatever it is, Gen V, maybe in like a few weeks. Probably not even like 2 weeks, week and a half. It was maybe not a week and a half. That was ridiculous. But I watched all The Boys pretty quickly about a year and a half ago. Great fucking show. And after the most recent season, Nick and I specifically, because he watched the show too, we were like, bro, what the fuck was that? I'd be like, that last episode, that was crazy. This last episode was crazy. That finale was crazy. It was fucking nuts. Graphic show. I don't love graphic stuff, but it's just it's an outstanding show. I love The Boys. I can't wait for season 5 as well. I think we're getting Gen V first, though. Gen Z, whatever. Season 2, before we get season 5 of The Boys, I believe. Do you think we get a Double or Nothing prediction stream similar to the Revolution stream? Yeah. Grunt asked, yeah. Possible. What I might do, well, I did a Revolution stream because we didn't have time to get to it on WrestleRant Radio that week. Because I think it was like the week of Elimination Chamber, and we just spent the entire time talking about that, and I didn't get to my Revolution predictions. So what I might do, come that week of WrestleRant Radio, so not this week, but next week is when Double or Nothing is. If we don't get to the predictions on the show, I'll do a separate stream. Maybe, I don't know. The tough thing is that Saturday is Saturday night's main event. So I'd have to do the stream pretty early. Or on Friday. But yeah, most likely I would just do the Double or Nothing predictions as part of WrestleRant Radio that week next Thursday. But if I don't get to the predictions, there is a chance I would do a separate stream talking Double or Nothing, maybe that Thursday. So keep an eye out for that, Grunt. That is a possibility. But I will give my predictions either way. I hope to, anyway. Micah said, what is your current favorite song right now? You know, I don't listen to a lot of music. I just listen to shit I've already had on my phone. It's weird saying iPod because it's all on your phone now. I don't know if I have a current favorite song. I just listen to the radio a lot too, so I hear a lot of the same songs. I mean, this is an old song, but listen, I've said this before. Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, great fucking song. Don't care, judge all you want, great song. Dua Lipa, I mean, Alexis will twist that as, I'm a Dua Lipa fan, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. It's like, okay, I like fucking 2 or 3 songs by these people. Doesn't make me a big fan of theirs. Sabrina Carpenter has good songs. Dua Lipa, like Levitating is great. That's an older song. The Barbie song, the Dance the Night Away is a great song. Those are like a few years old at this point. The Sabrina Carpenter song I like. Yeah, I don't know if there's one right now that I'm like, oh man, I'm fucking listening to the shit out of this. Yeah, man, I just think of that one. I just hear that. I listened to that the other day. I'm like, oh, this is a good song. Still a very good song. Alexis wants a cyberpunk movie. So, answering my question from earlier about video games that should be made into movies. Make it ASAP. Richie said, people online are just bullying Bella Ramsey, despicable shit, but that's the internet for you. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Johnny said, Tekken should be turned into a TV show and movie, God of War. I'm familiar with them. I just haven't seen them. So that would be cool. Top 5 feuds of all time according to you? Like favorite feuds or all-time feuds? Because all-time feuds, I have no idea. But Rock and Austin would be in there. Austin and McMahon would have to be in there. I would probably say Cena Punk, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm not really sure what else. Those would be the top 3 that come to mind. Fernando said Edge and Cena, Randy Cena, or Punk versus Cena. I mean, to me, Punk and Cena is the best one. Edge and Cena also had a great feud. I would rank it Punk Cena, then Edge Cena, then Randy Cena. Me, Hanako at Embers. I assume that's a cyberpunk reference, Richie. Johnny said, you and Alexis going to buy tickets to From the World of John Wick. That's a long fucking title. If you just said Ballerina, I would know what you're talking about, Johnny. But you said From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Is that the full title of the movie? That's ridiculous. Yes, we will go see that movie. I don't know if I would... There's movies I would see opening weekend, and then there's movies I would just wait for the $5. That's probably a $5 movie. But yes, I am definitely seeing Ballerina. I think she would as well, because we just watched all the movies about a year ago. Or was it that this year? I think that was last year. That was last year. All blends together. But yeah, we watched all the movies. I've seen them all, but I watched them all with her, and she liked them. So, yeah, we would probably are going to see Ballerina at some point. Probably the weekend after it comes out, or like the week after it comes out. Richie said Midsummer was trash. Yeah, it was a good movie. I mean, it was a very good movie. It just wasn't for me. Just kind of fucking weird. Fucking weird. I was so disappointed with that film, he said. Some people like it over Hereditary, and that's fine. I just thought it was a weaker film. Both movies are not for me. I will watch it. I checked it out because I got a free code for it, so I put it to use, and I'm glad I own it. But I'm just not a fan. Yeah, Alexis said we binged all of seasons 6 and 7 of Clone Wars during a snow day. We literally watched both seasons within a 24-hour period. It was ridiculous. But it was an amazing television, so I'm not going to complain. Fernando said, better Black Widow, Yelena or Natasha? Hot take, Yelena. I love Florence Pugh. I think she plays that role. And Natasha is great. I mean, Natasha's very good. But honestly, she wasn't really that good until like later on. I feel like the early roles that she was in as Black Widow were not great. Like she didn't show much emotion, which is probably the point. And I'm not even saying that's Scarlett Johansson's fault specifically. It could have been a directing thing. Could have been a number of things. I just like Yelena a lot more. So to me, she's the better one. If Nick said, yeah, The Boys' most recent season was a whirlwind of greatness. Yeah, that show is fucking crazy. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit. That show is awesome. No one has mentioned it. I mean, we haven't talked Star Wars, but I'll say this. What we've seen of Andor so far has been awesome. And I have not seen the latter 3 episodes. The last 3 episodes, because they come out tonight. Excuse me, they come out tonight. But Andor is such a great show. And it's a slower show. You're going to watch the first couple episodes and think, oh, okay, not really exciting. But once you put it all together, it's like, wow, this is like, it builds very well. And the moments that like pack a punch, they fucking pack a punch. Like the jail breakout scene in season 1 is fucking amazing television. It is riveting television. And again, you might not agree, but I think Andor is a great show. It's worth a mention because no one has talked about it. I love Andor, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it. Richie said Anthony Starr needs an Emmy nomination already for Homelander. The Boys has been nothing but phenomenal. I'm glad we can all agree. I fucking love The Boys, and Anthony Starr is incredible. He is incredible, which is why I can't wait to see Cody Rhodes as Homelander at some point in WWE. Gen V was a great spinoff too. That's the thing. Gen V, like I saw The Boys because it took me so long to get into it. I did not watch it as it aired. I caught up on The Boys like in late 2023 as Gen V was releasing. And I don't know why it took me so long. And I caught up on it and it was awesome. I very much enjoyed it. In Gen V, I'm kind of wondering, okay, it doesn't have the main stars of The Boys, so it probably won't be as good. Spinoffs aren't really that good. And Gen V was great too. Gen V was a great fucking show. And it's a bummer that one of the kids on the show passed away in real life, and they kind of have to pivot, as The Rock would say. And I think they address his absence or his death in the show. I forget, but yeah, Gen V was great too. Johnny said Gen V Season 2 this year, Season 5 next year of The Boys. Yeah, you got a lot to look forward to. Season 5 next year. Yeah, listen, Gen V, but it's nice to have it one per year because Season 5, I think, is it for The Boys. I don't really know how long that show can go on for is the thing. I'm not sure how long that show can go on for. Because like Johnny asked, do you think Billy kills Homelander in the last episode of Season 5? He should, but it's like, how long can you chase that carrot for? They've been chasing that since like episode 1 of Season 1. Like, you can't do that for 10 seasons. Like, they gotta end it before it just gets like, okay, what are we doing here? But I do think that's gotta happen. Homelander can't be redeemed. He's just a terrible fucking person. Daniel said, great song. Talking about the Taylor Swift, or talking about the Espresso song. It is a great song. And Alexis said, yes, you are talking about a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not. So you can keep saying that shit. You do not buy me a shirt for my birthday. It'll be a waste of a gift. I have other ideas for gifts that you can get me for my birthday in a few weeks. Do not get me that. We will have problems. Nathaniel said, I love Beyonce's Halo song. I forgot how that goes, but Beyonce's great. All hail Beyonce. Top 5 entrances of all time: Undertaker, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rock. Hogan's theme is great. Hogan's a piece of shit. Hogan's entrance? Maybe Hogan's entrance. NWO, perhaps. Bray Wyatt had a great entrance. Don't know if it's top 5, but he had a great entrance. Edge, great entrance. I can't really label it to entrance and not just entrance themes, but those are some of them. All right, guys. Now that I've gone through the entire chat, first of all, thank you so much for those amazing chats. Second of all, I will go back to the chat. But now we got to answer some scheduled questions. We are 2 hours in, and that is awesome. And I appreciate you guys. This has been a lot of fun. We are not ending. We got a lot more questions to get to. But I'm going to go through the scheduled questions. So if you're still here, chime in on the questions I'm about to answer and share me your thoughts, and I will read them momentarily when I get back to the chat. So let's go to the scheduled questions here. Jordan B sent this in from YouTube. How do you feel about NXT doing Miles Bourne versus Obafemi for the NXT Championship Battleground? Also, what are your opinions on Miles as a wrestler in general? Kind of an odd matchup when Miles Bourne won that Battle Royal, which was a great Battle Royal, by the way, last week on NXT. I was surprised. I'm happy they're spotlighting new faces. Miles Bourne has never been showcased as a single star ever in NXT. He's only ever been a tag team guy in No Quarter Catch Crew. And even then, they haven't really been spotlighted a whole ton in NXT. But it's cool that he's getting the opportunity. I don't think he wins, but we'll see what he does with the opportunity. If he sticks around at that level, maybe he'll break out as a single star beyond that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. My thoughts on Miles Bourne in general, I think he's good. I honestly think he's kind of underrated. From what I've seen of him dating back to his NXT Level Up days, he's the, I don't want to say deaf, because I don't think he's completely deaf. He is partially deaf, I believe. He's that, he makes jokes all the time. He looks like Randy Orton, so people are like, Randy Orton hears voices in his head. Miles Bourne hears nothing. That's fucked up, but it's funny. And he's made the joke, too, so it's not that fucked up. But anyway, I think he's good. I think Miles Bourne, I think he's very talented. The more I think about it, that joke is pretty fucked up. But again, he makes that joke all the time, so it's okay to say it, I guess. Anyway, his second question, speaking of entrances, what is your favorite TNA wrestler's entrance theme? Mine's are AJ Styles, Team 3D, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, and Main Event Mafia. Great question. My favorite TNA themes, my number one is AJ Styles, Get Ready to Fly. Easily Styles. But some other ones, I have a number of other favorite TNA themes. Beer Money, Big Beer Money fan. Fucking love Beer Money. Probably one of, if not my favorite tag team of all time. But then also James Storm and Bobby Roode's individual singles themes, which were also great. Enjoy their themes a lot. Kurt Angle's TNA theme. Magnus, a.k.a. Nick Aldis. I loved his TNA theme. The last one that he had there with the lyrics when he was on top as world champion in 2013, 2014. Jeff Hardy's TNA themes, specifically when he came back to the company. Not Modest. I never liked Modest. But Another Me, which was the song that he used in Immortal, the heel song. Always loved that song. Love that one. Resurrection. He used that starting in 2011 through 2012. Resurrection, Another Me, Time and Fate, he used a few years later. All the songs that he had like during that period of his run, I thought were really good. I liked all the Jeff Hardy songs that he performed. Fortune 4. Fucking loved Fortune. Fucking love Fortune's theme song. Kazarian's theme song, not the one he has currently, but the instrumental version that he had. I'm thinking like, I don't know, late 2000s, mid 2010s, I want to say he had. Before he left in 2014. Pre-Bad Influence, but yeah, that theme. And then also Mr. Anderson's. It was very similar to his WWE song, but I like that song a lot. Mr. Anderson! And like the mic drop or whatever. I like the Anderson song as well. So those are some of my favorite TNA theme songs. Mike Does It asked from YouTube. Obviously, he was here earlier. He asked, was Backlash better than WrestleMania 41? And which were your least favorite and most favorite matches from Backlash? Was Backlash better than Mania? As a complete package, it was. Because Mania Night 1 was good, but the main event made Night 1. And the Night 2 was great, and then it was the main event on Night 2 was just not good. With Cody and Cena, it was not great at all. Backlash had a lot less to give, though. That's the thing. Backlash didn't have as good of matches as WrestleMania overall, but the overall show, I would say, was better than Mania, yeah. Because Mania, I enjoyed Mania. It was a good Mania, not as good as 40 or 39 overall. But it had some weaker stuff and some weird matches that were not great. That could have happened on TV. Backlash, everything on Backlash was either enjoyable or excellent. And it was like a fucking 2-hour and 50-minute show. So I think Backlash was better overall. And favorite matches from Backlash, there's only 5. Backlash only had 5 matches. But if I had to rank them, my favorite matches, I'm not saying best, my favorite matches, I think might have been Gunther Pat. I think the main event, I think Becky and Lyra had the best match, but that main event was so fucking ridiculous. I enjoyed the fuck out of that. For as dumb as it was, I enjoyed it. So this is a sacrilegious answer, but Gunther Pat was one for me. Then the main event, then Becky and Lyra, then the 4-way U.S. title match, and then Dom and Penta. Those were all my matches ranked from favorite to least favorite. But they were all good, though. Good to great. Micah said, this is so random, but I love these random questions. You have a bowl of M&Ms. There's 1,000 pieces in the bowl. Each one that you eat is worth $10,000. There is one poisoned M&M in the bowl. How many M&Ms are you willing to eat? That is a great question. And so fucking random, and that's why it's great. Honestly, what are the odds? I wouldn't eat any of them because I'm like, what if that one out of 1,000 is the one that I eat and I die? But there's 1,000 of them. Take your chances. There is 1 in 1,000 chance of you eating it. And if you only eat one, you get $10,000. Bro, you can make $100,000 by eating 10 of them. So I would probably stop at $100,000. Because I think if you eat 50, that's still like not what? If you eat 50 of them, that's a 1 in 20th chance of you eating the poisoned one. And that's a lot, honestly. Like, you could eat the poisoned one by accident. So I'm not going to do that. That would make you $1 million, but I'll stop at 100. So I'll eat 10 of them, and I'll make $100,000. I like that. Maybe you guys would be more daredevilish and eat more and fucking die if you risk dying. I don't know, but that's probably what I would do. Is the Triple H honeymoon phase over, he asked. I see a lot of WWE fans more unhappy with the product each and every week. Does Tony Khan have a chance to become the number one promotion with the bad booking and high ticket prices? Number one promotion in general? No. Number one promotion in terms of quality? Yes. Listen, I think a lot of people don't understand how wrestling works. It will always fluctuate. Unless one company is just so fucking incompetent, another company is always bound to be better creatively. There will always be. I've seen it in the last year and a half. Like, it has not been for an extended period of time. A couple of weeks, oh man, Dynamite's great. Raw sucks. Raw's great. Dynamite sucks. It fluctuates weekly now. Fluctuates weekly. Everything works in ebbs and flows. WWE's business is so hot, it's bound to come back down and suck at some point. AEW is the exact same thing. It didn't really work that way when WWE and TNA were in competition with each other, because TNA was also inept in various respects. So even when WWE's creative sucked, you didn't really have a true alternative. Like, oh, where they were constantly going back and forth. AEW will never beat WWE financially, talent-wise, TV, everything. WWE is so far ahead, and they've also made so much money as of late. There's just zero chance. That wasn't even going to happen when Vince was in charge, let alone now that the company's doing a lot better. That was never going to happen. But in terms of, like, fan perception, that happens already as it is. I mean, yeah, is the Triple H honeymoon phase over? It has been, and I answered that question here on the show months ago. It's been over for a while. I mean, yeah, people shit on the WWE product now, not a majority, but a number of people do. People were shitting on the product fucking 6 months ago. I mean, this has been the case for a while now. I would say the Triple H honeymoon phase ended probably after Mania 39. Because that was when Vince was back in charge and the creative wasn't consistently great. The shows were good, but they weren't always amazing. The same way they were from late 2022 through 2023 early on. So it's been over for a long time, I would say. Does Tony Khan have a chance to take advantage of that? Yes, and he should. The same way he did in 2019 when WWE's product was in the fucking toilet. He put on a great product, and it wasn't just great because it was better than WWE. It was just genuinely great. And both companies can be great at the same time. There's also nothing stopping them from both being great simultaneously. Man6 Stinger from YouTube said, how can anyone not want Logan Paul to win? Money in the Bank he's talking about, I believe. It would be great for business. And also, can you tell Micah to stop asking so many questions at once or ever? LOL. Much love. I think so. I thought he was hating on Micah for asking so many questions. He said to me in the comments that he's actually a friend of Micah's. So I stand corrected. Man6 Stinger, if you're watching, hopefully that's true. Hopefully you're doing well. And Micah, I guess he said he's a friend from work or something like that. So if they are friends from work and he was just shitting on him, then that's fine. But anyway, as far as the Logan Paul thing, no, Logan Paul should not win Money in the Bank or the World Heavyweight Championship. Absolutely fucking not. At least at this point in time. It would be great for business. Brother, Logan Paul was United States champion for, 8 months? It didn't make a fucking slightest bit of difference with Logan Paul being a champion, let alone Money in the Bank or world champion. It would not make a slightest bit of difference. It wouldn't hurt. He does get more exposure on the product by carrying around that belt, but didn't do a whole lot of good last time. Why would it put in the world championship on him anytime soon? Like, especially in the circumstances that we find ourselves in, why would that be any different? Grunt, or actually not average. Why did they write down average Grunt here? This is from Christopher L. from Facebook. Shout out to Grunt. Grunt already asked his questions in the chat, but I wrote down Grunt here for some reason. I don't know why. Christopher L. from Facebook. He asked, what's up, Graham? Hope you had an awesome Mother's Day and an excellent weekend. I treated my mom to a Chili's lunch and brunch on Sunday and finished it off with a banana split. So I pretty much had a tremendous weekend with her. Hope you had a great one with yours. Now on to the questions, and this one is off the cuff. Which hotel did you stay at when you went to Nashville 3 years ago? First of all, that is a great way to spend Mother's Day. I have not been to Chili's in a while. I went to Chili's about 2.5 years ago. I used to go constantly when they had the chicken and waffles, and then they fucking got rid of it, which pissed me off. But, I remember that. And, I like Chili's. Fucking Nick actually told me recently they have great mott sticks there and shit. So I'm going to have to fucking go again just for that. So while I'm just spewing nonsense here, I'm looking up which hotel I was at for Nashville because they have it in like an email or something. I'm going to tell you right now. That's the airlines I took. Let me see. No. I'm trying to see what hotel I stayed at when we were in Nashville. It was myself and Mr. Marceau. Flight. Oh, okay, here we go. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. The hotel that we stayed in was called, it wasn't anything fancy. Millennium Maxwell House in Nashville. That's the name of the hotel. So that is where we stayed, for your information. He also asked, who would you rank as the top 5 greatest women's champions in WWE history? For my picks, I would go Trish Stratus, Mickie James, Beth Phoenix, Becky Lynch, and AJ Lee. It's hard for me to put Charlotte Flair in there because her title reigns have never been memorable, and I can't put Rhea Ripley in there because creative always struggles to put her in good or interesting rivalries without booking her too favorably and strong. What are your choices? That's a good point. Charlotte's held it so many times, but can you really put her in that conversation of great title reigns? I mean, she's had great reigns, but I can't say, oh, this one from this date. I mean, you're probably right. So I think you're right. I would probably go Trish, Mickie, Beth. That might be the 5. If anything, I might take out AJ Lee's Divas title reign was not like, it was memorable, very memorable, a lot more memorable than fucking Charlotte's runs. I might take out Beth and put in Bianca. I understand why you wouldn't put in Rhea, and that's understandable. But if we're talking just the main roster, I mean, you can also maybe put Asuka in there, but Asuka was never really the focal point. That was kind of the biggest thing that did her in. And we're not fucking putting Fabulous Moolah in there. Fuck her. I would probably put Bianca in there. Io Sky might surpass that, depending on how long she's champion for and the matches that she continues to have. But Bianca was champion for about a year, honestly. She won the belt the first time in the main event of WrestleMania. She beat Becky to win the belt back in a great match at Mania 38, then held the championship for over a year and had a lot of great matches during that run. I might go Bianca, honestly. So Trish, Mickie, might take Beth out, Becky, and AJ Lee, and Bianca. Those would be my choices. Has Penta become cold since his debut, he asked. He came into WWE red hot, and now he's just another guy who loses to Dominic Mysterio, which I kind of felt sad about. What do you think? Has Cierro Miedo volverse helado, or become ice cold in Spanish? I think that's what he meant to say. Okay, he was saying ice cold. Okay, I see what you're saying. No, Penta has not cooled off. In losing to Dominic, you say it's a bad thing, like, oh, we're losing to Dominic. He fucking lost to Dominic on pay-per-view in an Intercontinental Championship match, who is also very over, by the way. Dominic is super over, and it took fucking 4 people to beat Penta. And then he beat Chad Gable on Raw in a very fun match. Penta is still very over, selling a ton of merch, and he's being booked just fine. He is on Raw literally almost every fucking week. Almost every week he is on the show. So, no, Penta has not cooled off. He is fine. Should he be at like the world title level? Maybe eventually. I'm kind of curious where he goes from here. I don't really know if he's not winning the IC title, and that's fine. Don't really know where you go with him next. So has he become cold? No, I think he's as hot now as he was 4 months ago. And he's gotten over exceptionally well. You could say Phoenix might be cold. Phoenix has done well so far on SmackDown, but he hasn't really gotten over at a major level yet. But yeah, I would not say Penta's become cold by any means. All right. So we'll go back to the questions in just a moment. Let me go back to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Backing up here. Fernando said ranked top free agent signings this year so far. What, like the WWE ones? Penta would be number 1. I'd say Penta 1. Starks might be 2, because Starks won the NXT North American title almost immediately. And then Phoenix, then Black, then Rusev. But a lot of those guys just came back, so it's hard to say. I don't know if you're talking AEW, because AEW's gotten Josh Alexander, Speedball, and they've done really well in AEW. So I would also include them. Johnny said, and also Jordan Gray, she might be number 1. She's also done, behind Penta, she's done great too. Johnny said, I'm Dave Meltzer. I gave this stream 6 stars. Thank you, Johnny/Dave. I appreciate that. Alexis said, Marvel did ScarJo so dirty with how they sexualized her. Yes, you are right about that. Heel Cody will feed families, Richie says. I agree. Daniel, you're right. Pivot. The old Rock pivot. Johnny said, The Boys Season 3 made me appreciate weekly releases. Yeah, all the seasons are great, but you are right. They keep you on your toes very well. Beyonce or Taylor Swift, Johnny asked. Taylor Swift. But they're both great. Better theme song, NWO or Wolfpack? That's fucking tough, dude. That Wolfpack song is amazing. I'm probably gonna go NWO. I'm probably going to go NWO because it's more classic. But the Wolfpack song is a fucking bop. Maria said top 5 Mother's Day's going gifts that you gave your lovely mom. Oh, I have no idea. She asked me and my brothers to build her a fireplace one year outside. And, we did that. I'm not a fucking handyman, but I think she appreciated that. I'm not a great, I am a good gift giver, but I feel like Mother's Day gifts specifically kind of blend together. There was a good gift I got a few years ago. I remember it was like a blanket or something. It's never anything major. Good blanket. I don't know. Usually candy, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a great Mother's Day gift guy, but I picked up some stuff when I was actually with Alexis and Nick the other day, and Nick's wife Lindsay, and she actually appreciated all those gifts. Some of which were from some of the Trader Joe's stuff, like a hand lotion, stuff like that. So yeah, I guess there you go. Johnny said Triple X had a great TNA theme song. I never heard that one. I was never watching when Triple X was around. Johnny said AEW can beat WWE in awards and being critically acclaimed. Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, they can beat WWE for sure. Grunt said best case scenario, AEW remains a healthy and thriving number 2 promotion and maybe knock down WWE a couple of pegs every now and then. Correct. Yes, you are right on that. And yes, you are in my head rent-free, Grunt. That's not a bad thing. I'm constantly thinking about you, Grunt. Constantly thinking about you. Manny Fresh, what's going on, brother? Thank you for joining. He says, what's up, guys? Micah, can you get Micah as a special guest? I'd love to have Micah here on the show. I'll be in the hospital for a few days. Manny, I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing okay and recovering well from whatever you're in the hospital for, whether it be for you or someone else. But thank you for joining. Good to see you here in the chat. Swift 100, you said, and also Wolfpack because of Stinger. The Wolfpack song is, if you said Wolfpack, I'm not going to argue with you. Do you have a top 10 favorite female wrestlers, women's wrestlers of all time? I mean, definitively no, but I could probably name you 10 that are my favorites. AJ Lee, Paige, they were always among my top 2. Always loved Eve. I liked Caitlyn. I don't know if she would still be in my top 10. I know we're going back a ways here, but like AJ, Paige, Bayley, obviously, Tegan Knox, Eve, that's 5. Who else have I enjoyed? Mickey James would be 6. Maybe Becky would be 7. I like Becky a lot. Definitely not Charlotte. Definitely not Sasha Banks. Asuka, maybe. Probably Io. Io's great. Yeah, I don't know. I love Stephanie Vaquer. Honestly, she might be top 10 already, and she's barely been there. I fucking love Stephanie. Had a chance to meet her over Mania weekend, and she is just as gorgeous in person as she is on the show, just to give you a heads up. So, yeah, I don't have a definitive top 10, but that would probably be among the names that would be in said top 10. I'm trying to think. Oh, Maurice. Always loved the Maurice, too. She'd be in the top 10. I'm trying to think of other, like, divas, like older divas. Like, who I enjoyed back in the day. Even Maurice were 2 of them, though. Definitely AJ and Paige. Yeah, and then the other ones I mentioned. Bayley's still number 1. I also was always a big Tegan Knox fan, even though she was never really utilized well in the main roster, but I loved her work in NXT. The House of Dre is here, saying, I've been here since you started with episode 1. I love how much you've grown, brother, and keep up the great work. Wow, holy shit, that is crazy. If that is true, first of all, thank you. Second of all, that is fucking wild, because we're on episode 598 now. That is crazy. So House of Dre, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you've been here since day 1. And I'm glad you're still here. It's not only like you've been here since day 1, you've been here since day 1. So thank you for chatting in. Hope to see you in more chats and whatnot. Thanks for being subscribed. I appreciate that a lot. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate the support. That means a lot. Anyone who has been with me on the journey for even, I mean, it could be a month. If you guys have been subscribed for a couple of weeks, that's honestly cool enough. But if you've been here for, I don't know, it's cool for me to hear how long you've been following me for. Because I'm trying to think in my head, like, what the fuck was I doing at that point that you would have subscribed or followed me or checked out an article or something? So, I mean, I've heard a year. I've heard the last 3 years. I've heard the last 5 years. I've had people that I've been connected with and been following me and my stuff and vice versa for like literally 10, 13 years. Like, it's been a long fucking time. So, anyway, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, House of Dre. Hope you're doing well. Alexis said, Stephanie has such an aura about her. It gives me Marilyn Monroe vibes. Yeah, that is. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You said the same thing yesterday about Julia, or was it Scarlett? I forgot who you said. You said that about someone else, Alexis. I forgot what you said. Maybe it was Julia. Or was it Rhea? No, it was Rhea. You said that about Rhea. I agree with that. Stephanie might not be Marilyn Monroe. Rhea, I could agree with. I mean, Scarlett was kind of always based on Marilyn Monroe, but I mean, she's not that big of a star, obviously. But yeah, you're not wrong. Manny said AJ Bianca had a Sable bikini doorposter. LOL. Asuka Vecchia. Yeah, all good. Good choices. And page 2. Yeah. Alexis said that he's been here. I guess that means that Dre has been here for almost 600 weeks. That's, man, I was just graduated high school at that point. That's how long it's been. That's crazy. Manny said, Lita back in the day with the strings showing on those hips. Well, let's keep it PG here, Manny. But listen, you're not wrong. Lita might be another top 10 for me too. I love Lita. She wasn't around when I started watching, but I've always been a Lita fan. So, yeah, Lita was great. Top 5 your favorite Raw and SmackDown matches that you saw in real time. I mean, that TLC match that was on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago was amazing. I didn't watch that live. We watched it a few hours after the fact. But that TLC triple threat match, the tag team title match, might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite SmackDown match of all time. I'm not sure, but it's certainly up there. Raw match, I mean, SmackDown is harder to kind of come by, but Raw, Ilya and Ricochet I saw in person. I mentioned this a few times. The anniversary was last week. Ricochet and Ilya was one of my favorite TV matches I've ever seen, and I was also there for it in Hartford last May. Fucking awesome match, man. That was Dragunov's in-ring debut. What a match. That was incredible. Punk and Cena, still one of the best Raw matches of all time. 2013. I just rewatched that a few months ago, actually, and showed it to Alexis for the first time. Those are the main ones. I'm trying to think of other Raw matches. It was Regal and Orton, their match that they had in 08 that got me into wrestling, but it's not like a great match. It's just the idea that Regal was this heel English authority general manager and he was wrestling at the same time in England. It was such a cool concept that it got me hooked on wrestling. The match itself is not a 5-star classic, but that match had a lot to do with it. So, yeah. Anyway, so that would be another one. Are you a fan of The Walking Dead, man? He asked. Dead City Season 2 has been very good. I'm not feeling Season 2 of Last of Us. No, I'm not a Walking Dead fan. My brother was, though. He actually stopped watching and then got back into it just to finish it. But I'm not a big Walking Dead guy. I just don't love the whole, we got to outlive the zombies. I like the story arcs, which is why I like Last of Us, actually. I love Last of Us. I think Last of Us is great. Season 2 has been very good. But if you're not a fan, especially because of that, twist from the second season or the second episode of the second season, that's fine. Dead City, I have not seen. I think I've heard of it. Have never seen it, though. But I very much enjoy Last of Us. And I have not, I've watched Walking Dead. I just don't really care much about it. We talked about that a little bit earlier. More questions here. This one was also from Christopher L. from you. I'll go back to the chat in a little bit, by the way. If you send in something in the chat, then I will look at it in a little bit. But this next question was from Christopher L., also from Facebook. He said, this week, a lot of the IWC has been up in arms this week. Or I think he said this week twice. They've been up in arms this week about a lot of the comments stated by certain wrestlers and podcasters. I mean, if the day ends with a Y, then the internet is angry. But anyway, he said, I'm going to get to one that I thought really showed the tribalism of the IWC at full force. Will Ospreay saying that he doesn't like WWE but respects it, and says even on his worst day, he's better than most on the WWE roster. I find it laughable and embarrassing on their part because they get all up in arms about a guy who has massive confidence in himself and has backed it up every time the bell rings. But if it was the other way around and Seth Rollins said the same thing, they would blindly nod and agree without hesitation. Yes, it is subjective, but I have never been so embarrassed by how these fans react when a man who has proven himself to be incredible can have so much confidence and can perform better than a lot of the main roster. He didn't even bury the company. He just said it wasn't for him. God forbid not everyone likes WWE. What are your thoughts about Will's comments, and do you feel everyone blew it out of proportion? Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I don't agree with, but I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, not that he's not wrong. That's not true to say. A couple things. You said that Will said that he was better than most on the WWE roster. That is true. What I think he also said, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he just said, he didn't just say the AEW roster was better than the WWE roster, which you can also make a comment. You can also make an argument for that. But I feel like he had said something to the effect, and I could be wrong, that no one on the WWE roster holds a candle to what AEW does or what he does. That is definitely not true. I mean, there's a lot of amazing wrestlers on the AEW roster. So to say no one on the WWE roster comes close to what he does is just not true. But if he said there is most people in the WWE roster don't measure up to what he can do, that is true because he is one of the best in the world for a reason. But at the end of the day, none of this really matters because you're right. It's his opinion. He was probably asked about it. Like he didn't just, to my knowledge, he didn't just fucking tweet this stuff. Like Rollins, when he was spewing that dumb shit years ago in interviews and on Twitter saying, oh yeah, WWE is the best company in the world, at a time where they were putting out some of their worst content ever, mind you, was pretty stupid. And sometimes he was prompted to talk about it in interviews. So I get it. But sometimes he would just tweet it out randomly. It's like, you're just inviting backlash at this point. That actually played a role and a factor as to why people turned on him and he had to turn heel later that year because of shit like that. But him saying stuff like that, he's flying the company flag. What do you expect? What Will probably shouldn't have said, which was a dumb thing to say, and this doesn't have to do with what you asked about, but Will said in that same interview or something, it might have been to Chris Van Vliet, but he goes, we may not have the hotter business, the bigger crowds, the whatever, but we do have the best wrestling. It's like, well, okay, maybe don't bury your own company by saying all these other things that we don't have is probably why we're not as successful as WWE. That was kind of a dumb thing to say. But overall, it's like, yeah, the tribalism goes both ways. I get it all the time on Twitter, trust me. WWE fans, the fucking sickos that Tony Khan talks about in AEW, WWE has plenty of sickos as well. They're on both sides of the fence. I've been called the WWE homer. I've been called an AEW homer. I just call it out. Fucking is. And I tell you what I like and what I don't like. There's a lot of stuff in both companies that I like and a lot of stuff that I don't like. Just how it is. But Will Ospreay, I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. And he was probably asked about it. So blame the person asking him about it and not him specifically. Some of the stuff he said was nonsense. But again, it's his own opinion. And what else do you expect him to say? He works for the fucking opposition. He's not going to say, oh, yeah, WWE does everything right and we got to catch up to them. He's not going to fucking say that. So it really isn't that big of a deal. People freaking out about it do probably need to go touch grass. You also said, Dave Meltzer on Thursdays, one sec. There we go. Dave Meltzer on Thursday said something that made me shake my head in disbelief. He mentioned, funny enough, Will Ospreay's outfit on Wednesday's show and how he doesn't dress like a star and that wrestlers need to stand out when they are on TV with their clothing design. I find it funny because Hogan wore red and yellow, Austin wore a sleeveless vest and denim shorts, Cena wears jorts and any of his garbage t-shirts and hats, Brock wears tank tops and sweatpants, Undertaker wears a leather jacket and a hat, and Roman wears a tracksuit, Rollins with his idiotic and flamboyant outfits and many others. I just thought it was such an out-of-touch comment to make. What did you think about this? I agree. I mean, honestly, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Sometimes, not even Ospreay, like, if anyone goes out there looking kind of like, I don't know, it was specifically, no one in the AEW has walked out there and I thought to myself, man, this person looks like a bum. The only person that I thought their outfit was like, okay, you don't look like a star at all, you just look like anyone else on the roster, was Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny Omega is one of the best in the world, even to this day. But with Kenny, he was out there wearing like basketball shorts. He wasn't doing that before. Like previously he would I don't know, he was wearing suits as a heel. But it's not like I'm going to sit here and shit on him like, oh yeah, Punk goes out there wearing jeans and whatever, and he looks like so much more of a star than Omega does. I just didn't really expect that from Omega. Ospreay, the tracksuits or whatever the fuck he wears, it doesn't bother me. Because like you said, everyone about, even the more recent people, Roman and Rollins, you can argue dresses like a star, even though he looks like a moron most weeks. But with Roman, you're right. He wore as a tracksuit, or he did as a heel, as the Bloodline, and he was one of the biggest stars and is still one of the biggest stars in the industry. So I know what people have said and what Meltzer said. Oh, yeah, they should look more like a star. I get it, but when he wins the world title, is he going to be out there with a fucking suit on? I mean, that's just not who Will Ospreay is. They have to be authentically themselves, to an extent. They can't all out be there. They can't all out be. They can't. All of them can't be out there, I should say, wearing the tracksuits and dressing like this and that. I mean, there has to be some variety, of course. But for the most part, though, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. So anyway, yeah, I didn't hear that, but I was like, that's really not that big of a deal. Thoughts on Javon Evans' embarrassing comments, his embarrassing comments towards Ricochet and Tony Khan. I thought he made a world-class jackass of himself and showed his true colors as a cocky little prick who badly needs to be humbled for his unprofessionalism. What did you think about the whole debacle? I did see the whole thing. Ricochet was clearly just shitposting. He's a fucking troll as a heel on Twitter. I mean, that's his gimmick. Javon Evans bought the bait. And, I mean, not everything he said about Ricochet was wrong, but it's like, first of all, typing every word in caps. Like, not every word, but, like, the beginning of every word in caps was weird. He capitalized the first letter of every word in his tweet, which was odd. Must have been like an app thing or something. I don't know. Second of all, calling Tony Khan a crackhead probably wasn't wise, especially if he gets fired inevitably at some point. He might be looking for a job elsewhere in AEW where his flippity-doodah stuff might be a better fit. And I like Javon Evans a lot. He's very good. I'm not really sure why you would say that, though. So, he bought the bait, and Ricochet trolled him for it, which was kind of dumb. And Ricochet should probably tone it down. He seems like, oh, look at me. I got to make all this attention. Like, I got to be in heel mode all the time on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's kind of cringy. But Javon Evans' like outburst was kind of stupid. Like, all right, dude, you wrestle in front of a couple hundred people, if that, at the PC every week. You're not doing that much better than Ricochet, who actually made it to the main roster. Maybe Javon Evans might not. We don't know. But anyway, he probably the biggest thing was that he called Tony Khan a crackhead. Even if you actually believe that, especially if you're a wrestler, why the fuck would you tweet that? Especially if you might be bothering him about a job at some point down the road. That's kind of dumb. I'll finish off these next two questions, and then we'll go back to the chat, and then I'll finish out the rest of the questions, and then we'll head out. But his last two questions here, we have more questions after this, but his last two questions for now. He said, Jonathan Coachman made comments about Bayley. This is the headline question for today's video. Jonathan Coachman made comments about Bayley that I'm not completely in agreement with, but I can see his point. He called her washed up and boring, which obviously went viral online. Now, on one hand, I absolutely disagree that Bayley is not washed up. I mean, I think he means that he disagrees that Bayley is washed up. She's 35 soon to be 36, and still has plenty of fuel left in the tank. Now, in terms of boring, I don't 100% disagree with him on this. On one hand, yes, she's never been the most charismatic or the most colorful personality on either the NXT and main roster. But on the other hand, she somehow continues to still be somewhat over with the fans despite the severe lack of direction or dimensions to her character. I just feel she's more of a great wrestler than an exciting character. Do you feel Coachman was dead wrong in his opinions of Bayley? And do you feel my opinions of her are more accurate? You are definitely more accurate, Christopher, than Coach is. I saw the clip. I didn't even bother interacting with it because that's exactly what he wants. To call Bayley washed up was just fucking ridiculous. I mean, brother, she's 35, 36. She's far from washed up. I mean, he probably did not watch WrestleMania last year in the match that she had with Io Sky. And some of the other matches that she had with Nia Jax that were good, Piper Niven, Naomi, Tiffany last year, she's still great in the ring. So don't give me that fucking... She had a match with Lyra Valkyria on Raw recently that was excellent. So don't give me the shit that Bayley's washed up. None of the women are. None of the 4 horsewomen are. I mean, what, just because they're in their upper 30s? Give me a fucking break, first of all. The boring thing, he's not completely wrong about. The way he worded it, saying that she has no value and shit, he's just being a fucking asshole. And he was doing that to get people riled up. I think your assessment of Bayley made more sense. I love Bayley. Bayley's one of my favorite wrestlers, period. Favorite women's wrestler for sure. But I can agree that character-wise, she's not been the most exciting since she turned face. I think it was the right move to turn her face. She was a heel for 5 years. But her character as a babyface peaked with the damage control stuff. After she won the championship, it was kind of downhill from there. She defended the title on pay-per-view, had some quality matches and whatnot. But she just never really clicked character-wise. She was still over. Bayley is established enough where she will be over no matter what. Heel or face, she will always be over. I would not turn her heel now. I know people said that earlier. She was a heel for long enough. We do not need to go back to heel Bayley. I think the Becky stuff helps because it gives Becky attacking her, gives her something to do when she comes back. She can be involved in that picture. They have to give her more direction. She's been largely directionless since she lost the Women's Championship on SmackDown last summer. That I also agree with. The general lack of direction, not really having a notable feud. She lost to Nia a few times. She did a lot of. She lost a lot on SmackDown. She lost to Tiffany. She lost to Nia. She lost to Chelsea Green. She lost to Lyra recently. She lost to Raquel a few months ago. She loses seemingly a lot more than she wins. That's one. Two, she just doesn't have an extra layer of her character that we've seen yet. I know it's there. I don't think it's a Bayley issue. It's how they've been booking her. I do feel like a lot of it is on creative. So, yeah, I do feel like your assessment of Bayley is more accurate. Is she boring to me? She's not boring. If you feel she's boring, that's fine. That's a subjective thing. But I feel like we can all agree there's more that they could be doing with her to make her character on the show more interesting. And hopefully we see that when she comes back. His last question for now, Triple H's booking of the past few PLE main events have been deeply polarizing to the IWC and the WWE fan base. I, however, have had the issue with this overbooking of PLEs for some time now. While the overbooking has worked in the past, I feel it's becoming more of his crutch these days for big title matches than a compliment of his booking. There's too much smoke and mirrors, too much going on, too much tomfoolery that it feels forced at times. Any other booker does the same formula, they get criticized, but he gets too much of the benefit of the doubt. Could more PLE main events benefit more without the overbooking? And do you think Triple H should lessen this trope and focus on simple main event storytelling? I agree. I think a lot of the main events have been good. Cody and Cena was not. Cody and Cena had a lot of overbooking, and it was garbage. You can't overdo it. I mean, I think I saw someone else point out a lot of the matches at Backlash had interference in the finishes. Penta and Dom did. The four-way match did. The main event did. Gunther and McAfee did. The only match that didn't was Becky and Lyra. And even that wasn't a decisive finish. It was a roll-up. You can't give outs to every match. We need more clean finishes. You can have factions and shit, and that's nice, but not every match should end with fucking interference or a DQ. We don't get DQs as much, which is nice. That is a pleasant surprise. But the interference, like, they do that to protect people. They can't be doing that constantly. I do agree. More clean finishes can help. And with the main event specifically, I rewatched Cody and AJ the other day. That was a clean main event, and it was a great fucking 5-star match with a clean finish. No interference, no bullshit. But a lot of the matches with Cody had dealt with smoke and mirrors. Like, they got to lessen that. I agree. It is becoming an issue where they need to do less of that and not focus so heavily on that. I totally agree with you on that. I've enjoyed, like, the Cena-Orton one I didn't mind, because honestly, without the overbooking, the match would have been a lot more boring. Cena and Orton needed the overbooking and the ridiculous ref bumps and all this other shit. But, you know, for Cody and Cena, that was overbooked. A lot of their pay-per-view main events are overbooked. A lot of matches on their shows are overbooked. They need to stop doing that and deliver more clean finishes. I agree. So on that note, let's go back to the chat here for a little bit before we close off with the last few questions. Let's see. Manny said, love the game. It's the difference in the game or in the rage Ellie isn't showing. Oh, you're talking about Last of Us? Yeah, no, I get that. You know, other people I've seen said the same thing. I don't play the game, so I can't really speak to the game, but I've seen other people have that same criticism, so that's understandable. But I like Ellie, and I think the actress, I forgot who had mentioned her name earlier. I know what her name is. I just forgot off the top of my head. Whoever plays Ellie does a great job, I think. Johnny said, WWE wrestler is going to fight Will in the airports if they see him. I really genuinely think they don't care. It's honestly, the fans care more than the wrestlers do. And that's the problem. Bayley Balea, Alexis said. Oh, it's Becky Balea, not Bayley. It's Charlotte Balea, really. Bayley Balea is funny, though. You got to thank Daniel for that one. Daniel came up with that nickname. Becky Balea was fucking hysterical. And Adam Levesque, which is Adam Copeland. But anyway, I don't think the wrestlers really care about Will's comments. It's more so the fans that care more than they do. Rank your favorite Star Wars main trilogy movies? So the 9 of them? Oh, man. I mean, number 3, favorite? If I had to rank favorite, probably 3, 6. If I had to rank the Star Wars movies, this is, Daniel taking it out. If I had to rank them from top to bottom, if we're not including Rogue One and Solo, Favorite. You're not saying best, okay? You're saying favorite. It would be episode 3, and then 6, maybe 7. I liked Force Awakens. That might be my. I really enjoyed the hype around it. Was real. I thought it delivered. It was basically A New Hope. Probably 7 though. I'd probably go 3, 6, 7, and then maybe 4 or 1. Yeah, probably 4 because 1 isn't great. So let's see. I said 3, 6, 7, 4, 1. And then what's left? What have we not said? 8 and 9, 5 and 2. So probably 5, 2. I might put 2 above 9. I mean, 9's a mess, but I don't know. I liked 9 when it came out. I liked 8 when it came out too, but 8's definitely like the weakest one. I'd probably put 8 last. I'd probably go 2. I mean, 2 is some good stuff. Yeah, so 2 and then 9 and 8. So for my favorite, from favorite to least favorite, I would probably go one more time. I would go 3, 6, 7, 4, 1, 5, 2, 9, 8. Yes, I am ranking 7 above 4, Alexis. I liked 4. We're talking favorite here. I'd rather watch 4. I'd rather watch 7 over. I love A New Hope, but I enjoy 7. It was just, I don't know. I remember watching that in theaters, and I don't know. 4 is good. 4 is great. Obviously, A New Hope is great. But favorite, I'd probably go 7 above 4. I'm not saying best. There's a difference. Grunt said, gotta love them fed Twitter fan accounts with sports player avatars. I mean, that goes for everyone. I hate everyone. I don't hate everyone. I take that back. I don't mean that. I don't like when people call it fed or the E. I think that's fucking stupid too. Yeah, the sports ball player avatars, or the fucking John Cena avatars, or the, if your favorite wrestler is your avatar and you're up their ass about their favorite, about that being your favorite company, how dare you shame their favorite company? Those people are losers. Maria said, you're pretty neutral on wrestling. I have listened to streams where they are total shows for one company or another. Thank you, Maria. I try to. Grunt said, remember the people trying to dunk on AEW for the size of the ring at Grand Slam Australia? Yes, I remember that. And as quickly as people were bothered about it, the quickly they got over it because it was fucking dumb. I mean, who cares? Who gives a shit? There are some things to criticize AEW for. That really wasn't that big of a deal. Maria said Javon Evans was made to look like a fool. Yeah, he made himself look like a fool. Grunt said, apparently that whole thing led to everyone at the PC having to take media lessons. I don't know if that was true, but if it is true, I think Sean Rossett might have been joking about that, but if it was true, that is fucking funny, and they need media lessons. A lot of the people in WWE need media lessons. Fernando said, Javon needs to know his place and shush. Yeah, he probably, it was, I don't know even why he bothered to respond in the first place. It was dumb. Johnny said, Bayley doesn't want to be Bailey Hogan or Bailey Balea, as Alexis put it. Fernando said Jonathan Coachman was boring on commentary and backstage interviewer and everything else he did on television. I don't even hate Jonathan Coachman. He makes good points with some other stuff. But who is he to say that Bailey's washed up? Who the fuck are you to say Bailey's washed up? Does he even watch the show? Fernando said rank the Bloodline members? Oh, I don't know. What Bloodline are we talking about? The original Bloodline? The new Bloodline? Roman's obviously 1. It would probably be Roman 1. If we had to rank all of them, are we counting Jeff Cobb? Probably not, because that's not the Bloodline. I'd probably go Roman 1, Jay 2, Jacob, if Jacob is included. Jacob would actually be 2. Roman 1, Jacob 2, Jay 3. I would probably put Solo above Jimmy. Or Sammy would be up there too. Sammy would be 3 or 4, probably 4, because Jay's character development was great. Roman, Jacob, Jay, Sammy, if we're counting Sammy. Jimmy, I guess, would be 5. I would probably put Solo above Jimmy. I like Solo more than Jimmy. I would put Solo at 5, Jimmy at 6. Tama Tonga I like a lot. He just didn't really do much in the Bloodline. and hasn't yet. So I'd probably put him at 6 and then Tongaloa at 7. All acknowledge our tribal chief, Tongaloa. That would probably be my my bloodline ranking. Did I forget anyone? I probably did. Paul Heyman would be, if we're counting Heyman, he would be right behind Roman at 2. But if we're not, then you can take him out. Alexis said, my love, 8 and 9 sucked. 1 and 2 are definitely better. Oh, that's not, what did I say? What part did I say where 8 and 9 were better than 1 and 2? I said 8 and 9 were at the bottom. Did you hear the chat, Alexis? Are you listening? Again, I'm not going to go through my Star Wars ranking again, but 8 and 9 were at the very bottom. 1 and 2 1 was not great, but 1 and 2 are better movies. I agree. I did not say they're my favorite. 1 and 2, I did not say were worse, and I did not say they were my least favorite. 7 was still above all of them to me. Alexis also said they announced the casting for BT? Oh, the Watcher's character for Hunger Games. It's another unknown. Alexis is on that Hunger Games casting announcements right now. She's very excited. She's been on that TikTok, waiting for those announcements. Very nice. That Watcher's character, the guy that plays him, he's a great actor. He's in a lot of shit. Fernando said Ava is who is truly... Ava's above all of us. Ava's the best one. Ava's amazing. So I don't even bother ranking Ava because she's truly so great at her craft. I'm just kidding. She's terrible. Johnny said Solo would be number 1. Just joking. You forgot Naya and Tamina. Well, they weren't in the bloodline, so I don't count them. If we do count them, they're at the very bottom. Naya would be above Tongaloa, but it would be Tama Tonga, Naya, Tongaloa, and then you can't even see it, but at the very, 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 very bottom is Tamina. All right, we'll finish off these questions here that were sent in advance before we head on out of here as we approach the 3-hour mark of the stream. Long stream here today, but a lot of great questions. You guys have been very active in the chat, which has been cool to see. All right, last couple questions here. No L from Facebook. Who do you see winning this year's Women's Money in the Bank match? We talked about this last week. I'll say it again. I'm going to go with Naomi. Roxanne or Julia would be nice. I don't see Chelsea winning it. Bayley doesn't need to win it. Becky doesn't need to win it. Charlotte sure as fuck shouldn't win it. Alexa Bliss, been there, done that. I would like to see Naomi get the briefcase. I feel like that would be entertaining. Jade Cargill, perhaps, maybe. I'd rather see Naomi win it personally. Their second question: if you can add any one current WWE wrestler in their prime right now to NXT, who would it be and why? I mean, if anyone's in their prime in the WWE main roster, why would you put them in NXT? So I guess these aren't really great answers. The only person I could find from the roster that I thought was in their prime still that I would put in NXT just for a bit of a refresh because he's kind of been lost in the shuffle as of late on SmackDown, although he does have a storyline going at the moment with Andrade and Berto, is Escobar. Escobar spent a lot of time in NXT, so I don't really want him in NXT for an extended run. But, I feel like going to NXT to remind people what he could do would be cool. I'd rather see him do that than, stay in the main roster and just get buried. So Escobar. Nia Jax is doing great work. Currently, she's obviously the number 1 contender to the Women's Championship. But once that runs its course and she loses to Tiffany, probably at Saturday night's main event, I don't really know what you do with Nia Jax. And Nia has not been in NXT consistently in a fucking decade. So I would put Nia Jax in NXT, have her win the NXT Women's Championship, honestly. It's probably what I would do. So I don't know if Nia's not in her prime. I think she's 40 or something, but, Nia. And this guy's definitely not in his prime. But he's not doing shit on SmackDown. He hasn't been on in a few weeks. Shinsuke Nakamura. I said this a while ago, but Shinsuke for a quick refresh run in NXT as a babyface, as a heel, to kind of get back on his feet and be used would be cool. The problem is anyone who appears in NXT typically gets fired soon after because they do not want to be paying people main roster money to be in developmental. That's typically why these people get cut. Shotzi, Drew Gulak, Baron Corbin, who actually had to renegotiate his deal to take a lesser deal to be in NXT. Apollo Crews, shockingly, is still there, but he's hurt, so that's probably why. Anyway, the OC, the list goes on and on. But, I would probably go Escobar, Nia Jax, and Nakamura. Any one of those 3 in NXT I think would be cool. Last 3 questions from Matt Iwagu91. Your thoughts on Matt Sydal, formerly known as, Evan Bourne. I've always liked Evan Bourne. I mean, he's obviously older now, and he doesn't really have much potential as far as accomplishing shit, but at a significant level. But I think he's still technically in AEW. I've always liked Matt Sydal. I enjoyed him as Evan Bourne in WWE. I liked him in TNA as Matt Sydal in the Third Eye X Division shit. I enjoyed him in Ring of Honor. He was good in New Japan. He's had a lot of success across the industry. Very underrated, I feel like. Never really. He won a mid-card belt in TNA. I don't think he won mid-card belt in Ring of Honor. Never did in AEW or in WWE. He was tag team champion in WWE. But anyway, I always liked Matt Sydal. I met him once at an indie show many years ago, and he was leaving the match. He had a triple threat match with Matt Taven and AJ Styles, a great fucking match. And he was just taking pictures with people around ringside. He really liked my, I was wearing a CM Punk hat and an AJ Styles shirt. And he liked them both, he said, because they were two of his favorite wrestlers himself. And then he took a picture with me for free. And he was really nice. And I had a Pepsi can with me that was empty, and he asked me if it was empty. And I said no. I thought it was empty. It wasn't. When I just said that it was not empty. Because I think he was going to use that to probably spit his fucking dip in it or something. I don't know. He's probably going to use it to spit whatever was in his mouth or something, which I thought was funny. But yeah, cool guy. I'm a big fan of Matt Sydal. Second question of his, if FTR were to return to the WWE as the Revival, with Vince McMahon gone and Triple H handling the booking, do you think they would have fared better on the main roster than the first time? Easily. I mean, on the main roster, to be fair, they were former tag team champions, but none of those runs were really overly long or memorable. So if they were to go back now, there's a certain ceiling for tag teams where after you get the titles, what more do you really do with a team beyond like a few select teams? But they would absolutely be more successful because the first time around they got hurt. In 2017, they were fucked over by injuries. In 2018, they were champions, but they didn't really do a whole lot. 2019, they were like shaving the Usos' backs. They were also given dumb gimmicks. They were with Orton for a while, which was cool, but that was like the peak of their run on the main roster. As the Revival on the main roster, they were very much underbooked and not the great tag team that we later became to know them as in AEW, or even the same people they were in NXT. So it's not going to happen. I don't think they ever go back to WWE. If they were going to, they would have gone back when their contracts expired 2 years ago. But I think they signed a 5-year deal, so they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think when their AEW deal is done, they've both said that they want to retire anyway. So I don't think they go back to WWE. But if they did, I feel like they would fare better than they did last time. I will agree with that. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do worse. I know last time they won tag titles, but not very often. And the reigns weren't great, and they were largely underutilized. They're given shit gimmicks. Last question for the episode. Also very random, but he asked, Layla revealed in an interview with Vicky Guerrero, was supposed to win the WWE Women's title, the original one, from Beth Phoenix in 2010 instead of her. Obviously a bad decision that had happened. Had that happened, right? He asked. Yes, Vicky Guerrero as women's champion would have been atrocious. So thankfully, Layla won the women's title instead of Vicky. I did not know that. That would have been awful. I know you're a big Layla Cool fan at Iwagu 91. But you teach me stuff every time you bring this stuff up because I did not know that. Thank God we dodged that bullet because Vicky Guerrero as women's champion would have been as bad as David Arquette as WCW champion. And honestly, even worse because David Arquette's a cool dude. Vicky Guerrero, I can't say the same for. And that's about it. So let's finish off the chats here. Grunt said, fair enough. I think it's funny, but I'll keep the Fed talk out of your line of sight. I mean, you can call it the Fed if you want. I just think it's stupid. I don't like when people call it it's not even a WWE thing. If people call AEW like, oh, the dub or something, to me, it's stupid. Or like New York, like it's not the fucking 70s anymore. I mean, I think it's dumb, but you can call it that if you want. Fernando said, very fun, 3 hours. This and Thursday are my favorite streams of the week. Oh, thank you, Fernando. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us for pretty much all of it. This has been a blast. And Johnny said, excuse me, in Vicky's voice. Oh, fuck that. Fuck Vicky Guerrero, too. Well, that's going to do it, folks. We're going to wind down on that note. 3 hours into this stream. Man, we had a busy one here today, but this was a great stream. A lot of great questions. A lot of great activity in the chat. Thank you guys so much for that. It means a lot. If you want to consider signing up for a WrestleRant All-Access Pass, $5 a month. First of all, if you sign up during one of the streams, everyone will be notified. So there's like a little banner that says, oh, Average Grunt just signed up to become a channel member. That happened like a week or two ago. So just a heads up on that front. But if you become a channel member just in general, then Once they find out, I'll include you in this list of shout-outs. You get shout-outs at the beginning and end of every single live stream that we do here on the channel. That includes Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve 1, Daniel Malcolm, RJ Marceau, John Ritland, who's obviously on YouTube, A Real Honesty with John Ritland, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling here on YouTube, and Average Grunt, who I mentioned a moment ago, at the Average Grunt on Twitter. So if you sign up for a WrestleRant All Access Pass, more info in the description box down below, but you get top billing on shows like this. If you send in your questions ahead of time, I'll answer your questions first before anyone else's, or a topic you want us to discuss on WrestleRant Radio on Thursday. In addition to the shout-outs that I mentioned, you get badges and emojis here in the live chats, as you can tell by some of the people that you see in the chats there. Members-only live streams, whatever you guys want me to live stream, we can maybe work something out. Early and ad-free access to certain videos, and so much more. You support the channel by doing so, but even if not, you can simply just like and subscribe here to the channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button to be notified every single time we go live, and every single time we upload new content, you'll be notified. But that's really about it. If you guys want to send in a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. And I usually put up the post on Facebook on Monday nights. If I said Tuesday, I apologize, but I meant to say Mondays because we aired the show on Tuesdays. So again, guys, thank you so much for all the activity in the chat. This has been a blast. Everyone for joining in, all the questions per usual. Can't promise every week is going to be 3 hours. This was a special circumstance, but I had a blast. And again, I appreciate you guys oh so much. So the next time I should be live here on the channel, for those interested or curious, we might be live tomorrow for hashtag GSM for GM. I should be for episode 7 of that show, or 8. I think it's 7. But if it's anything different, the video should be up at some point. We'll see how much longer we go with GM mode. I'm not loving GM mode in 2K25, so we'll see how long that goes on for. But I should be live tomorrow for that here on the channel around the same time, noon Eastern, 1 Eastern. Keep an eye out for that. And then definitely on Thursday. Time TBD, but we will be live most likely on Thursday, myself and Mr. Marceau, breaking down Backlash, talking about the surplus of shows that WWE is doing in the coming weeks and months and how excessive it is. Are you on board with it? Are you not? We're talking to that stuff. Remembering Sabu as well. Rest in peace, passing away this past weekend. Lots to get into on the show this Thursday, so stay tuned for that as well. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have an awesome rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.